Hello, you're listening to the Eric McKenna Project.
You ready, man?
Yeah. What was in these cases?
These were Freddie's Road cases from the Black Label days, and I pissed him off by putting Rush stickers on there because he hates Rush.
Oh,
yeah, he wasn't too crazy about that. But the story is, when I started Boogie Street, he moved in and didn't ask me. He just like set up shop, and he never asked me, could I work here? Do you want to work out an arrangement? He came in and fixed one guitar on my couch for me, and then he just like, I don't even know how he got in that night, but he
open window.
That whole case was there, 2 duffel bags and stacks of Jack Daniels, like 4 or 5 like cases of Jack Daniels was stacked up like right there. And I'm like in the middle of this.
So the
big
bottom
space.
one's a work box and the top one's a rack.
Yeah. Yep. And then I've never given it back to him.
Yeah. Why should you?
That's what you have to pay. That was it. That was
possession is 9/10 of the law.
That's what they say, man.
Are we on the air?
We are official. Yeah, we are on the air, buddy.
When did we start?
You're already rolling. See, I got you here.
All right. Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, and it was kind of an accident, right?
Happy accident. Yeah.
Yeah, that just kind of happened. You're supposed to be.
Well, you had
Hartford
got in touch with me before and said, "Hey, you got a couple days off before Pittsburgh and a couple days off after Pittsburgh. Maybe we can fly you in."
Yep.
And then the Hartford show got canceled, and I didn't even know because I don't know until we come out and we get a tour itinerary that we were going to be off here in Pittsburgh.
Right.
So
right.
So we would have been off here regardless of Hartford being canceled.
Okay.
It's just that we ended up going to Scranton first.
Okay.
Because I think they probably would have come right here to Pittsburgh, but the hotel that we were staying in was already booked, so they didn't have an extra 60 rooms for the night before.
Damn.
So we would have got in. We would have been here 3 days.
Tomorrow's Toledo, so it isn't like he's just going to go across the border to like Akron or Cleveland. You're going all the way to the other side of the state.
Yeah.
And all
Akron.
the way back.
I used to come to, so when my wife was going to school here in the Art Institute of Pittsburgh
how about that shit?
In the 90s, mid-90s, my cousin, who's older than me, was dating a girl from Akron, Ohio.
Okay.
So I would drive out here with him to Akron, where he would, where my girlfriend at the time would come to and meet me and pick me up in Akron, Ohio, and go back to Pittsburgh.
Here's
that was only like once or twice because I used to just drive out. It was only like 6 hours from New York to Pittsburgh, you know. So yeah, I would drive out like on a Friday.
But you were upstate New York, right? That's where you grew up.
Upstate New York.
Yeah.
And the job I had at the time was cool because I worked 4 10-hour nights. So I would go in Sunday night at midnight, which was Monday, and I'd get out Thursday morning at 10 o'clock.
Got it.
And didn't have to be back until Sunday night.
So you always had long weekends.
I'd
work 4 10s.
I had four days off.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
I'd get out Thursday morning, right?
Yeah.
So if I got out of work on Thursday morning and I drove to Pittsburgh, or maybe I'd drive on Friday morning, but whatever, you know.
So you were dating your wife at the time when she was living here.
Yeah.
So you had the logistical drive.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad drive.
There's this picture over here of Fran and I dating back to 2006. The first night I think we came in acquaintance with each other, right?
First night we actually ever physically met, we had been talking and emailing and no texting. I don't think there was texting.
There wasn't. There was I think it was T9 texting or something like that, right?
You would have to push all the buttons to text, right? You have to scroll through everything.
Yeah, that was the Live the Wind tour. I think it was December 1st of 2006.
That was the date of the show?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, that's a very monumental day, of course, because I met Fran. But that's when it kind of all started. And it was funny because Freddie and I were leaving my office in Roslyn Farms, and it was raining like a sieve. And I looked at him. I said, you know what? I don't want to go down there without something in hand. I want to give something, you know, not to pay for access, because I didn't know what I was walking into, but I'm going to show Paul the kind of stuff we're doing with this Korean factory on the import side.
Right.
To say, hey, I don't know what you're playing with Washburn, but I'm doing different price points. Look at the qualities too, and I'm just going to leave the guitars there. And Fred's like, you're just going to just give them 2 guitars? I'm like, yeah, why not? I mean, it's a good business risk. And he
if
goes
it works out.
And he goes to me and says, well, Fran, Paul's tech's going to have to probably shuffle those guitars around, and that's 2 more things he's got to take off. And
that's something you wouldn't think about.
That's what Freddie thought about.
Yeah, that's somebody on the road is just shit, this is 2 more things I got to carry around.
Well, he said Paul's going to probably be appreciative of it, but he's going to immediately give them to Fran and go, okay, you just put that with the rest of the stuff.
Yeah. That is a consideration, when you're on the road. And obviously when you're on the road, especially if you've been doing it for a long time, you try to, the best way to travel as light as possible, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be bringing a bunch of stuff around. That's why I like, with over the years, when KISS plays, I wear this jumpsuit, right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to bring clothes with me, right? I didn't want to bring a bunch of clothes with me, so I basically just bring day off clothes, and then for the shows I wear the jumpsuit, So it's just easier.
The cool thing was that I would see you multiple times a year, but for about an 8-year period. But they were being clusters, so there would be an 8-month period during that year that I wouldn't see you. And every time I would see you, the thing was, I never knew what hairdo you were going to have. That was the difference.
Yeah.
You could have a mohawk one time.
Try
shave a military cut.
Yeah.
It could be long.
Yeah, I try to keep everyone on their toes.
You did keep everybody on their toes. Yeah, man. Yeah.
And then I cover it up a lot with a hat. So I've always been a hat guy. So I think, even when I had super, super long hair, I used to tie it up on the top of my head and put a hat on so nobody recognized me, because when I had long hair.
Got it.
What's funny is, so I'm from New York. I grew up in New York, and I had long hair all my life. And I cut my hair really short right before I moved to LA.
Okay.
So,
what year?
I moved to LA in 1999.
Okay.
Y2K, end of the world. I was going to live in LA.
It took 20 years before they actually happened.
Yeah, I was going to live in LA, for my last year of the world before everything collapsed.
Right.
But the funny thing was, I cut my hair right before I moved to LA, and when I would meet people in LA, if I showed them pictures of me with long hair, they couldn't believe it was me. And when I would go back to New York to visit, most of the people had never seen me with short hair.
Got it.
So, because like I said, I literally cut it when I moved to LA.
Yeah.
So it was weird because, you go home and everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe that's you. And I go to LA and people are like, oh my God, I can't believe that's you with all that hair. Yeah.
You were all cropped up pretty well by the time we connected in 2006. You had a very clean look about yourself.
Yeah.
Wasn't very rock and roll. You had some earrings, I think. But.
Yeah. And that's the gift that never goes away, because I haven't worn earrings in years. The holes are still there. I can still put them in. They never heal up. They never go away.
I wouldn't know. Never had a piercing.
No,
never worn. Not even a stud on my left side when I was a kid.
Well, now that your head's all nice and shaved, you need a nice big gold earring to.
Fran knew me when I actually had hair. Yeah, he did. That was a thing. It wasn't long or anything, but it was.
Did you ever have long hair? Did you ever grow your hair long?
Yeah, I had when I was a kid. I did. Yeah, I had. Early. We're generally the same age. Early '80s.
Yeah, you got some pictures on your Facebook page where you have
scary.
Even when you're a kid, your hair was kind of long.
It is what it is. I don't. So there's so many people watching this that know of you or have been part of the Boogie Street. I don't know, sphere, so to speak.
So I don't want to cut you off, but I'm going to cut you
off. Go ahead.
So that show was the first one that we actually physically met, but do you remember why we met?
I think you called earlier in the day and you thought I had a walking guitar store.
That's correct.
And you were because that was your thing. You'd like to go into cities and check out the guitars.
We talked about that earlier.
During the day.
When we go to places. I mean, that's what I do, right? I've always been around guitars and worked on guitars and, tinkered with guitars and stuff like that. So when we're on the road, I go to guitar stores or I go to pawn shops or I look at gear and do that kind of stuff. So I had seen you because you had an online presence,
right?
And you had a relationship with Bruce Kulick.
Yes, I did.
So, so I would see, Bruce would do these posts or whatever, and you were part of that.
Yep.
So I don't know, I guess I just made a mental note. I was like, oh, what is this shop? And, you know, and then when we were coming to Pittsburgh, I was like, well, I mean, if this guy knows Bruce.
Yeah. It was the angle you played, and it was a good angle.
I'd like to go down and see your shop. And I called you, and I said, hey, where are you located? You know, I'd like to come down. You were like, oh, I don't actually have a physical store.
Yeah.
I'm mostly an online dealer, but I have a spot where I have my guitars and stuff like that. So, yeah, I called you.
And I remember that. I remember where I was in my house in Mount Lebanon when I got that phone call, and I'm like, holy shit. Because I knew that someone from the Paul camp was going to make contact, because Larry English at Washburn said, hey, he's coming back. He's pretty fired up. You know, he wants to meet you when he comes to Pittsburgh. You know, just someone from that camp will call you at some point and then figure it out.
Right.
So it was, and I don't even know if you were instructed to call or not. You were just calling out of your own guitar curiosity.
No, nobody told me to call you, and it wasn't because we were trying to, you know, I wanted to come down.
Well, you were very puzzled because when I told you I don't have a store, you were like, well, how's that possible?
Well, you were very deceiving. Your online presence made it appear that that you had a guitar shop.
It was all. That was such an amazing show. What do you remember about Lift the Wind Tour, or beside the work involved with it? But what stands out, and what your memories of that tour?
I try to block most of everything out when I get home, so I remember a lot of it. I remember meeting you guys, you and Freddie, that night. That was.
Do you remember the rain that night?
I do remember.
It rained
we were just
so
talking
hard.
about this earlier. It was so weird because we stayed in Pittsburgh on the day off, and then when we went to go to the show, we got on the bus and seemed like we were driving forever. I was like, we're not playing in Pittsburgh. We're playing in
Greensburg.
Greenbow.
It took Fred and I, with the rain, probably almost an hour to go from Pittsburgh to Greensburg that night.
It was pouring rain and stuff like that. I remember our opening band. Do you remember who that was?
Was it a local band?
No.
You took someone out on the road?
Yes.
I do not remember that.
So they were called Slunt.
Was there a Slunt? Yes. Was there a woman in that band?
2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the singer, guitar player, and the bass player were both girls.
That's right.
And then Pat, I remember, was the guitar player, left-handed guitar player, and I forget the drummer's name, but yeah, they were interesting.
I remember the drummer from Paul's Live to Win band tour. That guy was thumping. I remember that was impressive to watch live.
Yeah, Nate Morton was his name.
Yeah,
that was the Rockstar House Band.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So a funny story about that is, we had finished a KISS tour and we came home, and Paul called me one day and he goes, hey, I'm thinking about going out and doing a solo run, you know? He goes, if you can think of any great players, you know, put a band together and we'll just go out and do some gigs. And I said, because that show had just ended, the Rockstar,
right.
I forget what it was. I don't know which one was first.
It wasn't Supernova, right? It was.
Well, I think Rockstar INXS was first, right? And then they did Rockstar Supernova.
Yeah, I think so.
That was the next one.
Right.
And I said, what about those guys? I was like, that's a band already, right? It's not like you got to... Because sometimes, you know, just because somebody's a great player, it's not always a great fit, right? So I was like, what about those guys? We know. And he goes, you know... He goes, it'll probably be expensive, you know, because they just can't. I'm sure they were getting paid well on a TV show, and he goes, you know, because I'd rather just find a couple local guys and put a
because it was a solo tour.
Yeah, just put a rock band together, you know, and then I was like, all right, yeah, you know, we'll start brainstorming and figure out, you know,
okay,
and then he called me like a week later. And he's like, hey, I hired the Rockstar. I'm not taking any credit for it, by the way. I'm just saying
that band was.
I suggested it.
Powerful, man.
It was a good band, great band actually. They were all great players, and then of course Hoffa, who was the guitar player in that band, the guitar player. He was something. He still plays with Paul in Soul Station. Yeah. Great player.
Yeah, and he showed it that night too. Walked away from that show thinking, because I was lucky. You folks let me photograph that show for the first couple of songs, and I just seeing it up close like that guy could play.
Yeah,
I mean, he really could play.
No, he's great. He's great, really fluid. Just makes it look easy, you know.
So I come away from that show for a lot of reasons, very happy. It was a monumental day in my career, with my professional life too. But I say to myself, and I've said to many people, Fran, the bottom line is that was the best
guitar tech I've ever seen.
The best musically performed KISS show I have ever seen or heard. Meaning that the way they played those songs was not traditional KISS, but it was so fucking good. Like, it was just And the song selection, including Million to One, and it was just songs that worked, and they worked in that band setting.
It was good. It's good to hear like a little different take, right? On, I mean, obviously they're great players, but they don't have to stick to traditional KISS, and they kind of, especially Nate. It's funny you mentioned him because he used to put some really interesting
fills in
and stuff like that, and sometimes we would just be like, and I think he's the only guy that I've ever seen, I'm sure it's happened before maybe, that broke the rim around the snare drum, the rim that holds,
broke the actual rim.
Broke the rim, split it in half.
Wow.
Yeah. He was a powerful drummer, and I think those guys, or most of them, still play together on whatever show that they play on. Is it The Voice? It's Voice.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, those guys are the house band.
I did not know that
for the Voice.
No kidding.
If that is still even a show, I don't watch TV.
Yeah, I think my wife and kids watch that pretty religiously, or they did.
I watch. If I do watch TV, I watch American Pickers.
That's still a thing.
And I don't. Yeah, I think. Well,
the heavyset guy's gone. You introduced me to the heavyset guy. Frank at I think, how about this from memory? 2011.
Yeah.
Illinois show. Yeah. Lincoln, Illinois.
Something like that. He was a big KISS fan. He used to come.
Yeah.
He's been to several shows.
Yeah, right on.
Nice guy. Yeah, I just read that recently too, that he's not on the show anymore, or is not going to be on the show when they resume it. Anyway, American Pickers, and like whatever channel that is that has like Fixer Upper with Chip and Joanna and the Property Brothers with the whatever that show is, the home fix show, because I do all the work around my house myself, so, and I've done all types of construction before, so growing up, my dad did everything around our house, so I was familiar with that, right so I'd have to help him, and then, as I got older, I think my first real construction job was concrete. I used to pour concrete.
Okay.
Around pools mostly. We did all kinds of concrete. We didn't do like foundations and stuff like that, but we would do patios and patios around pools and sidewalks and stuff like that. So we did that, and then all different kinds of other construction at the time.
So you were doing heavy labor then as a kid? Because concrete work is heavy labor.
Yeah. I mean, nothing wrong with hard work, man.
No.
I mean, I think it's really good. That's what, it kind of, so I have 3 teenage boys, and growing up in California, they've never shoveled snow. They've never mowed grass, I kind of feel bad. I kind of feel like I'm being a irresponsible parent by not having them have some skills,
Lifestyle difference, pal.
Yeah, it is just, I just feel like, unfortunately, when they get down to the real world, they're going to be like, what the hell is this? Or maybe they'll love it. I don't know,
But something different.
I was telling the story the other night. It is crazy to think, especially growing up in New York, with the weather and the seasons and all that stuff. So, I mean, I like living in California. It's nice. It's but it's Groundhog Day. I mean, weather-wise, you wake up and it's nice every day.
Don't rub it in.
So, I mean, yeah, it sounds nice, but at some point it's just like. So here's a perfect example of it. Like I said, I have 3 teenage boys, but when my dad passed away, he passed away in December, and we came home, and my kids were younger at the time because it's been 8 years. But right after, I think the day after we got back to New York, it started snowing.
Okay.
Like, we had like a full-on, and it was awesome because it was so much fun for them. But they literally, I think I have pictures of them, you know, they're literally standing in the yard with their arms stretched out, staring at the sky. They had never seen snow.
Yeah.
Right?
I believe it.
So it was just crazy. You know, and it was at that point I was just like, oh my God,
Right.
I felt bad. You know, I was like,
Yeah.
I feel like they should have seen snow.
If I never see snow again, it'll be too soon, pal.
Yeah, I say the same thing. I say the same thing about a tour bus. If I never get on another tour bus or another plane, I'm okay for the rest of my life.
You played rock and roll as a kid, right?
Yeah. From the time I was about 12 or 13, I grew up with a kid. His name's Andrew Freeman. He actually is still performing with
Freedom Rock.
No, Last in Line, which is the
Dio
original.
tribute.
Yeah, it's not a Dio tribute. It's the original Dio band.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
Vivian
Okay.
and
Yeah.
Appice, and
No
it
kidding.
was and it was what's his name until he just passed away, the bass player. What was the bass player's name? Original bass player's name.
I'm going back a
It'll
ways.
come to me. But now that he was replaced with. This is what happens when you get old.
What's my excuse?
You got too much on your plate. The bass player who was in Ozzy's band with Jake. What's his name? If only I had a tiny little computer in my pocket, I could look it up. Look up Dio band. Anyway, while I look it up, so we grew up together in upstate New York, literally on the same street down the road. Our mothers were friends, and that's how we ended up spending time together. Our moms were friends, and we lived in the same street. So he had an older brother who was totally into KISS, and he was in a band as well. And sorry, I'm looking up here on the thing, and of course it only comes up. Why is this guy's name not coming up here? I wanna pay homage to him.
I don't know.
He passed away not that long ago.
The bass player in Dia's band.
Yeah.
Wow, the original.
So the four original members: Vivian, Vinny Appice, and now it's coming up. Jimmy Bain. Jimmy Bain.
Got it.
And
got it.
So anyway, he through whatever channels he was,
I remember.
He got that gig they called the Last in Line. They did some Dio songs, but then I think they also did a record or two, and I think he still does that. I haven't talked to him in a bit.
Fred Kowalo's on the way, by the way.
Phil Soussan was the bass player in Ozzy's band when Jake was in there.
Yeah.
And now he took Jimmy Bain's place in the Last in Line.
Now we're square with that.
Yeah. Long story longer. So we grew up together, and he started playing guitar, and we had another friend who played drums, and he was like, "Yeah, let's start a band. You can be the singer." And I was like, "All right." So that was when we started. And that was probably 12, 13 years old. 80s, early 80s, 83.
Okay.
Early 80s. I couldn't.
So the music you were jamming to at that time, I'm guessing Van Halen was a big part of it?
Oh, yeah. Van Halen, Quiet Riot, Def Leppard, KISS. So my buddy Andrew, he had an older brother, and he was the typical KISS fan. You walk into his room, posters on the walls, posters on the ceiling.
Yes.
So that's probably where I first ever heard and learned about KISS was there, because he was just a KISS nut.
Right.
I remember I used to I used to walk down across the street from where Andrew grew up is where I would get the bus for school.
Okay.
And one morning, it must have been around Halloween time, his older brother came out of the house, and him and his friend were dressed as Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons, going to school for Halloween, you know. And I still have that picture somewhere. Like, he sent it to me because years later I was like, hey, do you have that picture of when you guys were dressed up? And he was like, yeah, and he sent it to me. So yeah, I think that was a big, well, that was my first experience with KISS, you know.
Right on.
And then later on in school, I remember Francis Fanning. It's the only other Francis I ever met.
Here we go.
My friend Francis Fanning, who I went to Catholic school with in upstate New York. He brought in KISS Alive.
Yeah.
And the back of that was just like, I mean, the when you open up KISS Alive, that's KISS for me.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my, you know.
Well, that sound, that rhythm guitar sound and that from that album is KISS to me.
Yeah, I'm just talking about visually.
Yeah,
you know, like when
it.
you open it up like that, that was my first real, like, you open that record and you see that show and that, you know, and they're on those lifts and the costumes and
Or you mean the KISS Live 2 then?
Oh, Live 2, sorry.
Okay, that
KISS
one.
Live 2.
That
I'm
one.
sorry. Because on the back of that, it had the 4 pictures of them and Gene with the blood down his face and stuff like that. So I think that was my first exposure to that.
Okay.
But it's crazy. I mean, like, I don't know that kids, I'm sure everybody has their influences, but I mean, a kid at that time growing up, kids had everything, right? I mean, so they were like superheroes, and it was the 4th of July, and it was rock and roll, and it was, you know,
It was irreverent.
Yeah, I mean, it was just everything like a young, you know, teenage boy could want, you know, loud music, you know, rock and roll,
Sexual innuendo.
Right?
I mean, that's what it was.
Yeah, I don't think we even knew what that was. At least for me, I was so young at the time. It's just oh yeah, so you got it right there. You got the album cover right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was it was cool. It was a cool time to grow up.
It was.
And like, I was into KISS, you know, but I mean, just that whole, I loved it all.
The music that era.
Zeppelin, Thin Lizzy, Foreigner. I had 2 older sisters, so you know, REO Speedwagon, AC/DC. I mean, all that music. I play in a tribute band now in LA that I started.
Freedom Rock.
It's called Freedom Rock, and that's all we do. We do the music that I grew up listening to that I know so well.
How cool is that?
It's great. It's fun, and people love it, you know, because it's great music, right? So, I mean, how do people not like great music, you know?
Weird memory. Did you or did you not go to Japan in the late 2000s or early 2010s with people of the KISS family and perform over there?
Yeah. I did.
That happened, right?
Yeah.
My memory's not failing me anyway. Okay.
I have pictures somewhere.
What was that?
I was approached, and it might even have been Keith LaRue. I think it was Keith LaRue who put it together through a Japanese promoter over there.
Okay.
And they do it all over the world, you know, KISS conventions, right? No matter how big or small. And everybody who loves KISS gets together and they trade, swap, sell memorabilia, stuff like that. And it was a KISS convention, or a KISS Expo. I don't know what they, you know, deem them. I don't know if there's a difference, is what I'm saying. Is it an expo or a
I don't know. It's good. Exposition versus convention.
Yeah.
Anyone know?
So I was approached by Keith to perform at it, and it was me. Oh, my wife is calling. I'm not going to answer that.
And just tell everybody, including her. I'm sorry. It's not my fault.
Yeah. It was. I guess they couldn't find anybody else, so they picked me because everybody else had KISS ties. So Bob Kulick was the guitar player.
Right on.
Nate Morton, who played in Paul's solo tour, was the drummer.
Okay, I didn't know that.
What was his name? Mike Norton was the bass player, and his brother was
Mark St. John.
Mark St. John.
Right.
So Mark St. John's brother was the bass player. Nate, Bob,
And you.
and me.
And you sang and played rhythm guitar, right?
Yeah, I played the part of Paul Stanley.
Yeah. So how badass was that? That had to feel pretty good.
It was fun. I mean, you know, look, I don't sound like Paul Stanley. We weren't there to
Emulate it.
Yeah, we weren't there to do a KISS tribute show.
Right.
We were just
play rock and roll.
We were just there playing KISS songs.
Yeah.
And obviously Bob, since he had such a history with the band.
Yeah.
We did a lot of stuff that he played, the songs that he played off of live too and stuff like that.
So you played behind Nate. Talk about that. That'd be powerful.
I can't say enough about Nate. I just said it earlier.
Yeah,
he was amazing,
really powerful,
amazing drummer, and awesome guy. Like great guy to be around.
Yeah,
a lot of energy, good fun. Yeah, it was fun. I got to go to Japan and
I got to go
and play KISS songs with.
Yeah, you got to go to Japan and perform.
Yeah,
instead of going out there in tour support of any kind.
Yeah. The only bad memory I have is that I got sick on the way over.
Ouch.
I got like a terrible head cold and chest cold and stuff like that. So it wasn't my best performance, but it was fun. I mean, we just, like I said, we just did it. I wasn't there to impress anybody. We were just playing rock and roll and playing KISS songs for KISS fans. So
yeah,
it was cool.
About 8 years ago or 9 years ago, I think it was the first time that KISS went to Venezuela.
Okay.
That's what I do. But that's a country that just, whether it's Western culture, whether it's Western entertainers, generally a lot of them haven't gone down over the years. It's a heavily communistic country. And do you have any recollections of Venezuela at all? Nothing? Just another gig?
I mean, I think that this must have been there. Like I said, I block a lot of it out.
I get it.
But I do remember being down there in some really bad areas.
South America, generally?
Yeah, South America.
Brazil.
I don't think Brazil was too bad. I like I said, I don't remember a lot of it. I'd have to really go back and research it and stuff like that. I have all my tour books and I wrote notes and stuff like that from my book later. But
I hope.
Hey, you never know.
I hope. Let's hope.
But I remember one hotel that we stayed at that was gated off, and they told us when we checked in. Well, they didn't tell us, but they suggested that we don't leave the hotel.
That could be Mexico. That could be Mexico City for all I know.
Yeah, well, that's yeah. I mean, there's a lot of bad areas, unfortunately. But yeah, it was what it was. But I do remember particularly that one place that was just like, yeah, we're not telling you what to do, but we suggest that you don't leave the hotel.
Okay.
And it was cool. It was kind of, the hotel was attached to a mall, so you could go into the mall and you could stay in there. But they just didn't want you
leaving the complex
out in the streets, in
the dark alleys, like Freddie would do, looking for some kind of food in some corner somewhere.
Yeah, I don't do that
for authenticity purposes.
Yeah, I stay home.
How do I think of? Oh, there you go. See, everybody has.
This was for Freddie.
He's coming. He's coming. He's due in about 2 minutes. Everybody has hands. See, every position of the microphone has.
I see that. What is the point of that?
I don't know. Because I had one, and everybody started playing with it all the time.
Something. Oh yeah. Well, that's smart.
So I figured I'd just set up every station with one.
Yeah, we'll give them this then.
Over the years, KISS has done private gigs too. Not many, I'm sure, but I'm guessing there's been some.
We have done some, yeah.
Without giving away or violating any of the privacy issues there, can you talk a little bit about anything that happened on those shows? I mean, because I can't imagine the audience could be that big, right? A private party wouldn't have like thousands of people, right? I mean, it would be.
Yeah, but we did one private gig at Mandalay Bay, at the pool at Mandalay Bay. Are you familiar with Mandalay Bay?
I am familiar with
So
Mandalay
there's a
Bay.
Stage out in the pool.
Yes.
We did that. That was a private event for a company, and it was just, the employees of the company.
There was one you did for a corporate event, I think in Columbus or Cincinnati once. That would.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was weird because
Motorola or something, or I don't know, some company like that. Honda or something.
Toyota, I think it was, right?
Something like that.
Don't Toyota have a factory there?
Could be.
I think it was their company party or something like that. That was because like Rascal Flatts played, and we ended the show. But they also had wrestling during the day in the middle of it. They had like a WWF wrestling match in the center of the floor and stuff like that. Okay. Yeah.
All right. What about the rodeo show in Houston, like 5 or 7 years ago? That went kind of like.
I think we did that twice. The rodeo show. What do you mean it went? How did it go?
I was told that the seating was pretty messed up for people because the seats were so far away from the stage.
Well, yeah. I mean, the stage was in the center of the ring, So it was like, it was weird because they weren't even close to anybody, right? I mean, it was... So imagine a band playing in the middle of a baseball field and everybody's sitting in the seats. That's kind of what it was like.
Okay. Kind of like if you're playing on the infield, like the Indy 500, something like that, where you're just like so far away from everybody, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Even the front row seats are still a mile away. That's what I had heard from some people say it was hot.
It's kind of like we did
hot and dusty that night.
What we did just in Dubai recently on New Year's Eve.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, that was it was kind of weird because we were basically the stage was set up on the beach of the hotel, and the hotel kind of wrapped around where the stage was, so it was kind of almost not really U-shaped, but for lack of a better term, it was kind of U-shaped wrapped around from where we were. And then so we're on the beach, and then there's like the pool area and stuff like that, because I think there was a couple pools there.
Yeah.
And then they had people in little, I guess if you were in a group, you could be in this kind of socially distant little pods, they called them, right? Where it's just kind of like a gated off, thing where a group of people were, and they'd have, I don't know, 6 or 8 people in each one, stuff like that. And then all the people on the balconies that could everybody stand on their balconies. And it was actually because the way that it, we were like, oh, this is going to be weird. We're on a stage and there's no audience and there's people in the hotel. And I was surprised how it didn't feel that way.
Okay.
It didn't feel like there was nobody. I thought it was going to feel like there's nobody there, like they're just
was
playing.
it weird between songs, like there wasn't a crowd?
No, because you could still hear the people.
They were screaming.
Yeah. So the people that were just on the other side of the pool in those socially distant pods,
right,
and stuff like that, and all the people on the balcony, and then it was like they'd end the song and you just expect to hear, way to go. But no, the people were loud and they were, and
boisterous.
It was cool.
Well, that was a very pricey trip for anyone who wanted to attend that show. It was pricey for airfare, and the hotel.
It didn't cost me anything, actually.
Yeah, I know. You were fortunate in that regards, although you probably had to work a good part of it too. But
it was weird. We we flew out on Christmas Day, and I got up, we had breakfast, the kids opened the presents, and I left for the airport. And we had the top 2 floors in the one section of the hotel where it was just band and immediate crew. So anybody who was directly working with the band, like wardrobe girls and the techs and stuff like that, because the whole point was nobody could get sick, right? Or nobody could test positive for COVID. So we kind of had to stay sequestered in the top 2 floors of that room. There was a ballroom in the hotel where we set up a rehearsal so the band could rehearse and warm up a little bit. And so we would do that. And then other than that, we're just kind of in our rooms, We didn't even go to the stage until the day before or the night before.
So there wasn't a sound check or anything?
Well, the night before the night before New Year's Eve, we went down first and we set up all the gear.
Yeah.
The band came down a little later. They sound checked and everything. And then the next day we played the show, and a couple hours later we were on a plane home.
You guys came home. Now, did the band arrive a couple of days earlier? Because there was vignettes filmed with the band, like interviews and things. We saw that was all part of the presentation. Did they get there early?
No, because I flew over with them and I flew home with them.
So that was filmed maybe, I'm guessing, before the show.
They did some filming while they were there.
Okay.
out on location.
Yeah,
they would
That was the day before. How many days were you actually there?
Well, we left on Christmas Day and we came home New Year's Day.
Oh, so that was a whole week. You were there a week then.
Yeah, we were there a week.
A full week. I didn't understand it was a full week there. I get it. Okay.
Yeah, so I know they did.
Okay.
They went out on location, did some filming.
Got it.
Ross Halfin was there. He came out and did some photo
Photos.
shoots with them in different locations and stuff like that. So,
Right.
yeah, that was interesting. Didn't see anything.
Yeah, it was such a. It was. You know what?
Everything I saw from my hotel room window.
At least it was rock and roll, and it was just something to hang on to in the middle of being shut down for so long.
Yeah, it was cool. It was definitely an experience in the
Yes.
height of COVID, right? And just getting the opportunity to get out and play was, I think, good for everybody.
You've been able to go to so many unique events with this band. I mean, television shows, you know, from Dancing with the Stars to American Idol twice, I think.
Yep.
Or with American Idol twice or three times. I think.
I know at least twice we did it.
I think I ended up sending a guitar to you for an American Idol thing years ago.
Maybe.
Yeah, we've done. Fran and I have done some last minute shuffling of when Washburn wouldn't have anything in stock, and Paul knew that I probably had something in stock, and,
Right.
and we would send it out overnight to different countries. It was
Right.
crazy. I kept all the receipts from all that stuff. It's kind of a little
Perfect.
memento. of
Are
what
you going
we
to send
did.
it to us later?
I might. I haven't sent the bill yet, but
By the way,
It all worked out, though.
Here's the receipts from 15 years ago.
nah,
You owe me
it
some
all
money.
worked out. But like, I guess when you talk about Jay Leno's show, you talk about the Tonight Show, Letterman.
Yeah.
What is it about those events that is so starkly different outside of the fact that you can leave there and drive home?
Well, not David Letterman. We were in New York.
Well,
Jay
the
Leno,
LA stuff.
Jay Leno, we went
The
home.
LA stuff, yeah.
Jay Leno was great. I remember that because Don Rickles was a guest on.
Oh, he's the
on
best.
Jay Leno,
He was the best.
Sometimes when when I got some time and I'm sitting home, I go down the rabbit hole, the
he's
YouTube of
something,
Don
man.
Rickles. And if you don't know who Don Rickles is and you're listening to this, you need to Google Don
Yep.
Rickles and YouTube him and just watch some Don Rickles because you will pee your pants.
Yeah, I saw him live with Sinatra.
And if you don't pee your pants, I'll come over and pee on you.
Rickles was something, man. Yeah, he was something. Yeah, and so he was there that night, huh?
Yeah, he was a guest on the
Did you get
show.
a chance to meet him?
Yep, we saw him backstage and said hi to him. And
That's very cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's very
Yeah.
cool. The I don't know how you do. Like, the thing that cracks me up is I am so puzzled about this one thing. When you go on location to do events like that, everything is different. Like how the guitar interacts and the output and everything is different than playing in an arena, right? It's different.
So the thing that's different about that.
Hey, look who's here.
Look who's here. Well, they can only hear us; they can't see us. We're going. Come on in.
I can see him over there coming through the door.
I've been waiting outside for a while. I just didn't want to interrupt you guys.
Oh man, we've already announced your arrival 5 times.
I've been
already,
ringing
so.
the doorbell.
brother.
I've been ringing the doorbell.
I've been ringing the doorbell.
No one would let me in.
Nobody's answering.
I got you some moonshine.
I'll drink it.
Go get that moonshine.
Yeah, let me get it for you. I'll give you a hug after.
What's up, Sir Kowalo?
What's going on? What's going on?
Just
What's going on?
shooting the shit.
What do we got?
Great American Blueberry Moonshine.
Blueberry moonshine.
Sounds good. Here you go.
You want to nip at that 32-year-old Scotch?
Oh,
Do you
no.
want to try that?
No.
32-year-old Scotch. You don't get this opportunity very often in life.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Is it good?
It is good.
I'm sure it is.
Okay.
No doubt about it.
You know what? I got to get my headphones on here.
Yeah, that would help.
You guys got to catch me up on everything we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, well, right now
We'll
we're
watch
talking
the
about
podcast
we're
later.
talking about- I'm asking him about one-offs, you
Yeah.
know, because the band he works for does a lot of TV.
You might have heard of them. They're called KISS.
Well, we might have a little ego.
Rock
We have
icons.
a little ego stuff going on here. This
I
might be good.
watched the
You might recognize me, the voice of KISS.
the voice of KISS.
That you wait, stop.
Yeah, we didn't even get to
You
talk about
are
that.
the voice of KISS.
One of the voices.
You wanted the best.
I
You
am.
got us.
I'm That's what Paul says all the time at rehearsals.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It is listed somewhere on I don't know if it's a Wikipedia page or something like that, but it's funny because somebody sent it to me. So it has the 4 members of KISS listed, and at the bottom it says Fran Stueber, the voice of KISS.
I'm never gonna let you live that down.
That's awesome.
I didn't know that.
I'll find it, send it to you. But I did. I've been doing it for 10 or 12 years now. The intro, and
Who did it before you, or was it kind of by committee?
No, Mike Rush.
Mike did it?
Gene's old bass tech did
Mike,
it for
yeah.
years. And then prior to that, there was a couple shows that he wasn't at, and I did it filling in for him. And then when he wasn't with the band anymore, they were just like, well, you're going to do it because, you did it, and we like the way you do it, so you're going to do it. But I get compliments all the time, even the other night when we did our first show in Mansfield, Gene walks over and he goes, "You're still the best we've ever had."
That's awesome.
He hasn't sent the check yet.
It's in
Don't
the
hold
mail.
your breath. Don't hold your breath.
He said to me one night, he goes, when you do the intro, he goes, not only, he said, it pumps me up for the show. He's like, and not only does it pump me up, he's like, but I feel it. He goes, it sounds like there's chunks of meat flying out of your mouth. He's like, you have the voice for it.
You need to do an Eric McKenna project intro.
Okay,
Let's do it. Bad idea. That's not a bad idea. There's no licensing. You wouldn't be violating any licensing on
No.
that. We could. Johnny Rotten hasn't accepted our offers to do the intro yet. So much.
So you got the best.
Just on a side note, what's your obsession with Johnny Rotten? You post about
The
Johnny Rotten all the
I
time.
don't know, the last couple of years especially. I always liked that he's so blunt and just so like
he doesn't
wrong.
really care about much,
No,
right?
he's very
he's like-
honest.
He's just like,
Yeah, I don't think he cares about offending anybody. And we're in a
Yeah.
culture right now where everybody's just so offended.
Yeah.
Which
those poor comedians, right? They just
Oh,
can't.
God.
They just
how many we talked to on this show about it? Craig Gass included was here talking about
was
that.
he, yeah?
Yeah, so it just my thing is that I find that band interesting. I like that one album. Some of the songs are great.
The one they did.
The one.
The one they made. Imagine what a career, right? You have one record and you have a career for
And they
the
hate
rest of
each
your
other.
life.
Like, Jonesy hates
Yeah, you know what? I don't know
Leiden
why.
and
I don't know why, but
they're suing each other.
I don't know
Over
anything about
the-
it. You know more. You have to tell me the soap opera. But Steve Jones was doing a radio show in L.A. Jonesy's Jukebox at
Paul was on
noon.
it.
Yeah, Paul was on it. And then it stopped.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's not. He doesn't do it anymore. Now it's Marcy.
Did you know that?
Marcy's
I did not know that.
Marcy's Playground. She's hot. Marcy Weiser. You look her up. I follow her on Instagram. Marcy Weiser from KROQ. Everybody, check it out.
Well, besides, there's two
She's
factors.
cute, and she got a nice voice.
Gene and Paul figured it out. Jones and Leiden didn't. The other factor was there was a quality of music there too that one had and one didn't.
Right.
But those two, like Gene and Paul, figured it out. You can be angry with each other, but still understand the two collectively are better than the one.
Well, they're good business partners, right?
Right.
It's
Whereas,
business.
like you said, he doesn't give a fuck, so he's just
Well,
like,
the other ones want to make money, and I don't think Leiden really cares about money. It's just I love the unvarnished nature of the way the man lives, and he offends everybody. I think that's great.
is he still? I mean, obviously
Pill.
it's been COVID, but was he playing and planning on playing?
No,
Is
I
he-
think he wrote a book.
He was on a book tour, wasn't
speaking word tour thing, kind of interview thing, but yeah, all right. I thought you guys were like experts in opening liquor. It's
Well,
part
I
of a
did.
job description for you guys.
Hey, I'm gonna show Freddie a picture of that guitar, see if he knows what it is.
Oh, sick.
Fred will definitely know. He found this in a pawn shop.
Yeah, I'll tell you the whole story, but first let me just see if you even know what this is, because
While you do that, I'm gonna take a piss.
Oh.
That's what we do in this show.
I'll tell you like I tell my
It's
kids.
a flow.
You don't take a piss, you leave a piss.
Yeah, you don't want to take it.
You know what it's like?
Unless you're into like some German piss porn videos and shit like that, then you get paid for that shit.
Yeah. You never take a piss.
You always leave a piss.
You leave it. You leave it right where you found it.
Right where somebody else can step in it. So they can take it.
That's a good thing about being a guy. The world is your toilet. Do you know what this is?
The bathroom.
Well, that is
Fred might know.
that.
Oh, Fred's going in now.
Leave the bathroom open.
Andy Beach built that.
That's right.
And
See, Eric didn't
look
know
at
anything
you.
about that.
Oh my
guitar.
God, look at that. Where'd you see this at?
So, I'll tell you in a minute.
Yeah, it's a Glory guitar.
Did you have any experience with that when you were?
I
with
never
that?
have.
Yeah.
It was gone by the time I got there,
Yeah.
and I would have loved to have.
So the great story. I was just telling Eric this story. I got it recently. I was in Disneyland with my family before we came out on this tour, and two of my sons wanted to go to the pool, so my wife went with them. My one son wanted to go skateboarding, so I took him to a skate park. And like you do, I'm sitting there, he's skating, and I'm looking on my phone. I'm looking for guitar shops or pawn shops or whatever I go to. So I look up this one pawn shop. It's literally right down the road, and the pictures in the for the ad had that guitar hanging on the wall, and I was like, and I knew what it was. I knew what that guitar was, because I actually researched it a little bit when I saw Zakk playing it years ago, and looked it up, found out it was Andy Beach. He built this guitar and blah blah. So I go to this pawn shop and I walk in and it's hanging on the wall.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and anyway, I don't want to upset anybody but I got a really smoking deal. I said,
awesome.
He had, whatever he had it listed for. I don't know if the guy didn't really exactly know what it was.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just had it too long and wanted to get rid of it, but he had a price on there, and I was like, hey, what would you get rid of this for? And he threw out a number, and I was like, done. So I get it, and it's a custom built, handmade. He doesn't make a lot of them, right?
He made that for Zakk. He made a couple of them for Rockstar. I know that, the movie.
Right.
Those are his builds.
Right.
But
and then I guess when he made that one for Zakk, some people were interested, and he started making a couple of them. Because after I got it, the receipt was in the case, so it had all his info on there. So after I got home and I got the guitar, I called him and I said, "Hey, it's this Fran. I work with KISS, and I said I just bought one of your guitars at a pawn shop." And he's like, "What guitar?" And I texted him some pictures and I told him all about it. And he was like, "Oh wow!" And he remembered who he sold it to and the guy that bought it. And he's like, "I can't believe he pawned it."
That's awesome, man.
So yeah, it was cool. And so I bought that. And
let me know when you want to sell it.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? When we were rehearsing, Zakk was rehearsing down the street they were doing Sturgis, and I was going to try to get down there and have him sign it.
Oh, that'd be killer.
Yeah. He'd probably freak out if he saw it and be like, hey.
Probably try to buy it off you. Or drink you for it. Yeah. He doesn't drink anymore, right?
No, I don't drink at all.
You just got to taste it. He's got to taste it. Yeah. 32-year-old man.
I got to work tomorrow. There's a bug floating.
There's shit floating there. It's a cork, is what it is.
Is that like a?
It's cork.
What's the tequila where you drink the worm?
cork.
It's cork. It's the piece of the cork.
It's cork.
The cork broke off.
That's better than the worm, right?
Yeah, it's better than worms. Yeah, see that?
It's totally soaked.
Broke off. Yeah. Just like
32-year-old
If you could swish it around like a little bit, the cork stays out. You know what I mean? Or if you suck it through your teeth. Like an old drunk.
The cork's not going to dissolve, though, right?
It's just try to.
That's smooth. I'm not really a.
I lied. It's old fruit flies. The cork broke off. We left it open.
I'm sure I'll pass them.
They don't drink much.
I can do everything else.
No, that's killer that you got that guitar, man.
Yeah, it was exciting. I was excited to get it because I actually looked, like I said, when I started researching it, I was like, man, I'd love to get one of those, but I think they start at like $5,000. I was like, I was like,
didn't Zakk give you a Zemitis?
Jason Todd gave me a Zemitis.
What did Zakk give you besides a hard time?
Zakk gave you
a lot of stories.
He gave you some guitars, though.
He gave.
We could turn this into a Zakk Wylde episode. So you have great Zakk Wylde stories. Sean Payton has great Zakk Wylde stories. Jason Lemire has some of the most amazing Zakk Wylde stories.
Does this involve a baseball bat in a bar?
Yes.
And leaving you off on the side of the road?
Yep.
Yeah,
were you there? You weren't down that, were you?
No, that's why they were there.
Oh, that's why they were there.
That's why they were there. That's why they were there.
One of my great, and look, I think Zakk's great.
It's a different Zakk now, isn't it? Though?
Yeah,
It's a whole different Zakk.
Yeah. But I remember him pulling up to rehearsal. I happened to be at the rehearsal place with other band, but him pulling up to rehearsal, and it was like an episode, yeah, like a scene out of a movie, right? That you can't make the shit up. And
So I tell everybody.
In his big truck, he comes pulling up on the curb, right?
Yeah.
He throws the door open. Like Beck's bottles are falling out of the door of the truck. He's got Beck's bottles in the console. He gets out. He's visibly intoxicated when he got to the thing, and he's clearly drinking and driving, which
that was just a guideline back then. I don't think it was a real rule, was it?
But I think obviously he was managing it.
Yeah, you came into my life after pretty much you were done with them.
Yeah, because I had time. I finally had some time to come home and do some shit.
Did you just have to get out of there? Was it just?
It's a long, ugly story.
No, you don't know the whole story. I mean, when you left, it
was kind of weird because I mean,
microphone, please.
Check.
You're good.
Where's my ego cam? There's no ego cam.
Oh, you know what? You're supposed to be sitting over there. Hold on. We gotta hold on.
Oh, yeah, he was going to put you next to me.
Well, I can come over there.
Hold hands.
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid.
I did it. I made this for you.
Rock and roll.
Ego cam. You see what I did?
There it is, right there.
All right, ego cam.
All right, am I in there?
Your ego cam. You're there.
All right. No, I kind of didn't want to go, but I mean, there's
you know what? We talked about that.
Yeah, there's a time.
I remember.
There's a time.
You know what happens? I tell you, I block it all out. But then when you get with because you were with Megadeth and we were talking backstage and you told me the whole story.
Yeah.
So
And, it just comes time where it's time and time goes past and now what was great about that?
So you came in after Sean Payton?
No, he came after you, right?
I was there. Payton came in.
Okay.
Payton left. I came back because I never left.
Did Payton leave after he punched him in the mouth?
He may have left then.
This is great.
He may have.
I think he told me that story where Zakk's guitar. He was playing the wrong. He gave him a guitar and his song was in the wrong tuning for the song that he was doing, but it wasn't supposed to be.
It was like one string was in tune.
Came back and punched him in the mouth.
So the classic with this is me and Zakk stayed up all night drinking. Now Payton's his tech. All right.
What were you doing there?
I was doing Black Label stuff, and I was doing
because he was tech with Ozzy.
Yeah.
And you were tech with Black Label.
And Tim put Payton in.
Tim Boland.
Yeah, Boland put Payton in.
I heard that name in a while.
And it was just like, dude, what the fuck? I'm the tech. And they're like, oh man. So anyway,
keep it separate.
Yeah. So that's what happened. So I was doing all the Black Label stuff and helping get them from place to place, and of course me and Zakk are up all night drinking, and so we're sitting there and we learned the song. It was with I think it might have been Soil or some shit. And so he learns the song, but it's a drop tuning. All right, it's like a real weird tuning. So we learned the song, and we're just sitting there drinking, and we stayed up all. So it's like at noon, live on MTV or whatever, And I tell Sean, I say, hey man, you better check the tuning on that guitar because it's and Sean, I guess, put it to standard 440. And so Zakk goes up to play. Sean goes, I know exactly how to fucking tune a guitar, dude. And he walks up there.
Been doing this for a long time.
It's been doing and it was like one string was in tune. It was like, so he played the song on one string, and that was all she wrote. It was like in Boston or some shit like that. And I get this phone call. Dude, you fucking needed tonight on stage. I'm like, what do you fucking mean? And I goes, dude, fucking Payton's gone. Fucking, you're back. I'm like, what do you mean I'm back? I was kind of happy.
I punched him in the mouth and he left.
So shit like that happens, but yeah, it was like one string was in tune, and I there was another incident on that tour too. I guess a piece of steel wool was inside the control cavity of the guitar, and I guess it shorted out the volume. It got lodged in the volume, and it shorted it out. So it just wasn't a good tour for Sean. I mean, this happened like a day or two before that, and so we ended up smashing that guitar. And of course, guess who got that fun part of dude, look what fucking happened. Yeah. Look what happened.
Yeah. Were you part of, and this pertains to you a little bit too, I heard the story, but you know how stories grow, and backstage at a concert, I don't know if it was an Ozzy concert or an Ozzy or something, somebody showed up with a Parker Fly guitar.
I don't remember this one. Yeah. I want to hear this. Okay. I don't even know this one. This is great.
So whoever it was, and I'll just tell you the short version I know of what happened. If anybody knows the real story, you tell me that I'm wrong.
Bennett?
But the guy shows up with when Parker Fly came out, you know, the whole carbon fiber, can't break it, blah, 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 blah. So he's showing it to Zakk, the guy, and he goes, he's like, these things are amazing, you know, tuning and blah, blah, and can't break it, and he takes out two chairs, and he puts it between two chairs, and he stands on it. The guy, he's like, you can't break these things, you know, and Zakk goes, let me see that, and he takes it, and he swings it around, smashes it on the ground, breaks it to a million pieces, and he goes, doesn't look indestructible to me, and walks away. So, if somebody knows that story, tell me if it's true.
He did the same.
It sounds very much like something he would do.
He did the same thing with Randall, man. So it's like it's the same company with all fucking things. He went by and they had like the EQs out on the amps, you know, like all the graphic EQs.
Because Dime used those.
Yeah. And he goes, dude, if I want to fucking change my EQ, I just turn my fucking knobs. Look at all this. Nobody uses all this bullshit. They have like, look, you can engage the graphic equalizer. He goes, and look. Fucking, it'll just snap right off. The guy goes, no, they're pretty sturdy. He goes, and he broke like all the fucking EQ.
All the knobs, busted them off.
Busted them off. He goes, dude, fucking, look at this hunk of shit. He's like, it's like
I know you've been around too long. You sound just like him when you do all this stuff.
Oh, he's got him down pat.
Oh, dude, fucking,
I've been hearing this.
It was many, many years. So check it out. I wrote the other day, and I'm hoping that he's going to write the intro to my book.
Okay.
So I
showed Fran the cover. I didn't know if I was allowed to put it out in public.
I'll post
okay,
the pictures.
We'll post it here on the
it's
show.
some silly shit. I have a phone call with the publishers and the guys tomorrow.
This is a different audience for this show than our other podcast. So enlighten them what we're talking about.
I got a book. I'm going to write a book.
See, this is why you have no excuse now. That's why you have no excuse now.
Yeah. So you got to write a book. So Fran, you got to write a book. We're all going to write books.
I mean, I got a great story, and it's not a KISS story. I got a great story, you know.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the thing with me is
obviously KISS is a big part of my story, but that's not my story.
That's what I'm trying to do. It's not all about the
debauchery.
The tour. It's the story. It's how I got there. It's what I've done. It's what I've seen.
Yeah.
And how it affected me. And that's kind of. I mean,
look how it affected me. You can clearly see.
I'm drinking moonshine out of a jar right after work.
Don't leave out blueberry moonshine.
It's blueberry. But yeah, man. I mean, it's so they started doing it. It was supposed to be a comic book, and it was supposed to be a graphic novel. Now I'm writing in prose, and we're gonna put some pictures in there with the prose. So I'm like telling a story. So it's gonna be like a tour diary, kind of how I kind of remember things through.
And the guy got the idea from watching one of your early podcasts.
Yeah, it's my stories. I tell it like them in the podcast. It came out. You know, from doing a podcast. So welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, welcome.
And this is a great launching pad for your
debauchery.
Yeah. Do we think there's going to be a NAMM show this year at all?
Man, I hope there is.
I hope there is.
But you know, you never know. I really do.
One of you tough fuckers got to get me in because I have no way of getting in anymore.
I could probably do it. I could swing it. I mean, I'm sure Fran has a few guys. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I know people.
I know a guy. But yeah, I mean, you know, so I've got some silliness going on with that. But definitely, I would love to hear your story. I mean, we all heard mine. We know mine 1,000 times. I tell you,
he was trying to. We kept diverting to other things, but like, you know, he played rock and roll as a kid. You're in bands.
I mean, I think we all did, right? For the most part, in some capacity, or was around it, and you know, that's kind of pretty much how everybody either fell into the business or got sucked into the business. Is you either played in a band, worked with somebody in a band, knew somebody in a band, you know, and you know, people say to me all the time, they're like, how'd you get this gig?
Yeah.
And it's not a question you can answer. Like, oh, one day I was sitting home, Paul called me up and said, "Hey, would you like to be my guitar?" It's like there's no small answer for that, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, you really kind of have to go back to where you came from and how you came up and the channels you went through and the people that you met, and it's a journey. That's why I'm saying, a book for me would be my journey, and like I said, it wouldn't necessarily be a KISS book, but I've been in almost 20 years, so it's a big part of my life, But I mean, I've worked with, as tons of other people, and
Ted Nugent, one of them.
Ted Nugent, and
there's some fun.
So, oh boy, you think Zakk Wylde's fun?
But now you work for David Lee, right?
What's that?
David Lee Roth. You work for
No,
them, right?
I never worked
Did
for
you
him.
work for David Lee Roth?
I did.
So you just partied with David Lee Roth.
So I did. I have a couple of different experiences with Dave. One is through Henson Recording Studios, the old A&M Studios, where
Right across from Crazy Girls?
Right across from Crazy. What is that? What is that? I see that sign all the time, but
It's a strip club where Dave hangs out.
Oh, a strip club. Okay, I wasn't sure.
That's where I hung out with Dave.
I wasn't exactly sure what it was. I kind of thought that's what it was. I've never been in there before. So,
lying to his teeth.
Dave used to record at Henson all the time. Like, he would always be. I worked at Henson for a long time because I worked with a bunch of different producers there. One in particular who I should mention, John Shanks.
What?
Jim Beam?
What the fuck are you looking at?
Anything over there that you...
Watch the tape. When it's done, we'll watch the tape. That's all. All right, we'll see you. You're good. Okay, so you worked with John Shanks.
Yeah. So I was set up in Henson as a guitar tech for a good long time. And Dave would come there and record all the time. He would just, if he was demoing stuff or, he was just there a lot, So that was one of the first experiences with him, and I don't even have time to tell that first story. But I worked on the last record they did together, A Different Kind of Truth. So I was there for that whole thing, and I could write a book on that.
Oh, I've heard some great stories
He
from other
seems
cats.
rather manic.
Oh yeah, he's 100% bipolar. So years ago, way before I knew Dave and all those other guys, I worked at Yamaha Guitars.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
And
we were a big fan of their stuff, their acoustic stuff.
yeah. So, and at the time, Mike Anthony, they were trying to get Mike Anthony.
What
as an
did you do
endorsement.
there?
Huh?
What did you do at Yamaha Guitars?
I was a technical secretary, which meant technically I was a secretary.
Okay. He's honest.
The whole premise of it was when I took the job, it was like, well, we don't really need a secretary, but we got some administrative stuff to do. So if you come in the morning and answer some phones and return some phone calls and do some administrative work, then in the afternoon you can work on guitars. So I was like, well, that sounds good. I can do two jobs for the price of one.
Yeah, right.
Sign me up. So I did it for a while. Anyway, Mike Anthony is where I got to know Mike Anthony and actually became friends with him, and my wife and I went out to dinner with him and his wife and stuff.
Yeah.
But he would tell me the craziest Dave stories, and when people tell you those
He
stories,
must
you're like, you're obviously exaggerating. This can't be true. This just sounds too crazy. But then I got to meet Dave, and I realized.
Hey there, Francis.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, hey everybody, how's it going? Yeah.
So the average public, people that just knew Dave as a fan of Van Halen, will watch him on Rogan these past couple of years, most recently a couple months ago. And you're starting to see that's a really manic person. Like, he's thinking in a flow of consciousness that the average person, like Rogan to his credit, can keep up with him.
Yeah.
But I would imagine having a conversation with David Lee Roth, a serious conversation with David Lee Roth,
You
has
can't.
to be like a
As much as I've been around him, you can't, because he's always Dave.
It's always
you
a
can't.
show.
It's never like, if somebody's a character or a persona or something like that, when you're sitting alone with them and you can talk to them and you just be like, hey man, what's it really like, or whatever. You can't do that with him.
he's always on.
He's always Dave.
Dave.
Yeah. It's crazy, and then of course, not only did I do the record, but then he opened for Kiss on the last,
but not this
last
time.
run.
I see.
Ain't gonna happen this time.
I mean, I saw some crazy tweets going on about what's going on there.
Yeah,
one involving a middle finger.
yeah, multiple,
Yeah.
Like 19 times.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know. I mean, I thought when he opened for Kiss, he was awesome. I mean, he had a great band, and he was Dave,
Yeah.
and he put on the show, and he sang the songs,
Yeah.
he sang all the hits, and I thought it was a great opener. He did.
I think
awesome
it was
job.
the right. I think it made sense, like audience-wise, it made sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, look, it's the same era. Everybody knew those songs.
Right.
He did all the Van Halen songs and a couple of his, hits and stuff like that. But he's still,
For his age, I mean, he still got it. I can't get past that television special they did where he cut himself in the face, though.
I was there. Yeah,
you were there for that.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, so I mean, we can get into great detail. Jim Service, who used to be Tommy Thayer's guitar tech, who went on to be Wolfie's guitar tech in Van Halen. I was working at Henson's studio, and he had called me and he said, "Hey, they set up on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah,
they closed down Hollywood Boulevard for Van." And he said, "Come on over." Mm-hmm. And Henson is 3 blocks from where they did that. So I walked over and I stood on the side of the stage and watched that whole thing happen.
So what happened? He hit himself with the mic?
Yeah, not the mic. He came out with a wand or a baton or whatever.
Not a sword, but a baton.
It wasn't a sword.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just like a baton.
Okay.
And they came out to a kind of like a fanfare, and he came out and he was spinning the whole thing and whacked himself.
You gotta be shitting me! I thought it was a microphone.
It's on YouTube. You can watch.
I thought it was a microphone.
It's not a microphone or a microphone stand. He just had like this baton he was whipping around because he does all the martial arts stuff and all that thing. So he whacked himself in the face with it, and then halfway through the song, because if you watch the video, you see he keeps wiping his nose because he realized he was bleeding. He's wiping it and he's looking at it, and then he stops the song and he goes, I got an injury here. We got to take care of it. And then he came back out with a Band-Aid on his nose, and then he went for stitches after the show.
Wow.
Imagine singing with a fucked up nose.
I don't think he sings anymore. He kind of just talks his way through it.
A little scats his way through it.
Squeals.
I don't think he kind of talks. It was almost like a talking thing.
I'll tell this one funny story. It's not really funny. The crazy thing was when we were in the studio. So when I was in the studio with Van Halen, they never recorded together. So the band would come in, Alex and Eddie and Wolfie, they would come in at like noon, 12:30, and they would record music up until 5:30, and they would leave, and then Dave would come in around 6:30, and we were in the back studio at Henson, and the crazy thing was he had all these people. So first his dog walker would show up, right?
Takes him on tour, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the dog walker would show up, and then his personal manager would show up, and he's always had this little entourage, and then we would get a call from the front office, Dave's here, and then everybody was just like on pins and needles, right? Because it was like, okay. It just got really weird when they would call and say that he was there because you didn't know who was coming in.
Which Dave you're going to get.
Right. You didn't know, right?
Okay.
And until he got there and you realized what it was, then you knew what you were dealing with. But when it was just a weird kind of stressful situation, right? Because sometimes he would walk in, he's like, "Hey, everybody, how's it going?" Like Dave, and then sometimes he would walk in with just this scowl on his face and just, you'd talk to me, just grunt at you as he walked past, and it's just, it's just like,
wow,
it's definitely bipolar, I mean, it's like, it could be awesome and it could happen in minutes. It could be
his story on Rogan, like him just explaining the things he's done like the past 20 years.
Yeah.
Since kind of Van Halen in their heyday. I mean, he lived like in New York City and worked as an EMT.
Yeah, paramedic. Yeah.
He went over and
that's when he got arrested for buying weed. Remember that? in like Battery Park or something like
I
that.
didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Rogan, I don't think Rogan mentioned that.
It's on. It's
That's
it's
great.
on one of the Howard Stern episodes. He talks about it. Yeah, he was just, you know, went into a park, bought some weed, and got busted like by an undercover cop for
Buying weed.
buying like a $10 bag of weed. You know, which is crazy now when you think about how it's legal everywhere. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a weed smoker, but I'm just like, well, really? I mean, that's what you're gonna lock this guy up for, you know?
Yeah, David Lee Roth.
Yeah, he was an
something else,
EMT
man.
or a paramedic.
Yeah.
Freddie has a David Lee Roth story or two or three that just are not for publication.
Yeah, right.
I've heard.
Did you work with him, or you just being around him?
Meeting around him.
But
Yeah.
You know what? I will say this though. Last time I saw him with Van Halen, this is no joke. You know, Alex, Eddie, Wolfie, they hop off in the van, they take off. Dave came out the other side. This is out here at Star Lake where you guys were. There's stage right, stage left. Came out the stage right door, and he walked through all the stage hands, and he shook everybody's hand. And he said, he goes, thank you for helping put on the show. And it was like awesome. And you know, I thought it was really cool.
He at Henson, the recording studio I worked at, one time when he was there recording, he was leaving. It was like, it was probably his last day there, and whatever was right before Christmas, he walked around and gave everybody that was there a $100 bill.
That's awesome.
He said, thanks for helping out, thanks for being here. I mean, right up to the security guard at the gate, everybody who was there just walked around and handed him a $100 bill.
Nice.
So,
Huh? How about that?
I mean, he's you know, anytime I met him, and I got to be honest, he was always cool. It was just craziness.
right, me
Yeah,
too. For the most part, really great guy. And when he's Dave, you couldn't ask for a more fun guy.
Yeah.
But when he's on the downslope, you kind of don't want to be around him because you know it could be ugly. You know.
You know who gave me an ugly experience on a casual meeting backstage was when we first started working together. You got me tickets to Velvet Revolver, and you said, go see so-and-so. I'm not going to be at this show. Go see so-and-so, and they'll let you backstage. Just, you know, I don't know if you're going to get a working pass or whatever. Just don't bother anybody. But just hang out, you know. Kind of like what I didn't do when you give me a working pass.
Well,
But I must have said something to Scott Weiland as he was walking toward the stage or something. I must say good show or something, and he just gave me.
You don't talk to
Weiland just gave me this it was
hey, have a good show. Fuck you! Don't tell me what to do.
pretty much that's what it was. Yeah, that always kind of soured me a little bit from that point on. I always liked the guy. I felt bad for him, but he was not too pleasant. Didn't leave a good mark on me at all. And that's got to be tough in your business because you probably you obviously see all the sides of people you work with.
Oh yeah.
You know them on good days and bad days.
Sure.
You know,
Who's the nicest rock star you ever met?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a hard one. Nicest rock star I ever met.
Or worked
Rick
for.
Derringer.
Even worked for. Anybody. Who was just like, you were just like, wow, he was
You know
really
what?
cool.
I met Richie Sambora as a kid, and he was very, very nice. He was like way cool, you know. And then, you know, as years go by and you meet these cats later on, they're cool, you know. He was always good. You know, I got to say it, man. Zakk and Dimebag would give you the shirt off their back.
Yeah.
You know, for them it was all about having fun. The Kirk Pengilly from INXS was a sweetheart to work for. I had like the worst first show of anybody could ever have.
Yeah.
And the guy just looked at me and he smiled and he's like, oh, good show, man.
the guy-
I'm like, what, really? What show are you fucking playing?
What's wrong with you?
wait a second. Didn't you like set up a tuba or some shit?
No, it's a saxophone.
Same thing.
So check it out. I don't know if did you ever hear this story? Did I ever tell you the story about the saxophone?
No.
All right, so check this shit out. So I get this gig with INXS, and it's just a fill-in gig because dude's wife's having a baby. So they call me up and they say, "Hey, look, you want to come down?" I say, "Yeah, sure, man, I'll come down." So we get on there, and I'll make it a short story.
No such thing.
I have to learn how to do
I
saxophones.
have to pee. Go ahead.
Take the break. Take the break now.
No, go ahead.
So
It's okay. All right.
So I go to my kid's school to learn how to set up a saxophone from like the music teacher.
Yeah.
And I understand that it all depends on where the mouthpiece is as to what key or pitch.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm at least that knowledgeable.
Right.
Well, I don't know how to play one.
Just blowing it, right?
Yeah, right. So for like the longest time, so we do this show in Argentina. And it's my first show with them. It's their first show back, and it's live on, it's live at Luna Park, And so we're sitting there, and it's jam packed, and my space is really cramped. I've got like a 1.5 foot walkway to get through the stage, and this camera guy's got to be about 350, 400 pounds, and he's squeezing through my world. Now being techs, I mean, I can excuse some things, but man, don't be squeezing through my world, knocking shit down. And that's what this guy was doing. He was just too big for the 1.5 foot space that he could squeeze through, and he was knocking. And the saxophone's sitting right at the end. So I get into the guy. I said, "Man, stay out of my space." And of course, I don't speak good Spanish, but the international fucking fuck you, flip you off, and
He understood that, right?
yeah. So all day, and I don't know the set, and so I'm handing Kirk the guitars as he's calling them out, and I'm like, "You ready for that sax?" He goes, "No." So it goes on and on and on. Here we go through the set list, and I see, Never Tear Us Apart's coming up, and I'm like, "Oh man, okay, cool," And here comes Never Tear Us Apart. It's probably going to be the sax, but
you didn't even know what song the sax was using.
yeah, I did.
It's INXS. Everybody knows.
There's a lot of stuff that I was not privy to. The thing is I never saw the gear until that day, and I asked I said, "Hey, could somebody at least show me the gear?" And they're like, "Oh, mate. What are you talking about? You're in Argentina. You're down here in Buenos Aires." He goes, "Enjoy the day off." He goes, "We'll do it tomorrow. You can check out the gear." And it's like, I'd really like to see the gear because I'm unfamiliar. "Oh, mate, it's press day for us." He goes, "When's the next time you're going to be in Buenos Aires?" Now, the thing was, I was just down there like a month ahead of time for like 2 days with Megadeth. So, I mean, I just was in Buenos Aires. I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." He goes, "We'll do it tomorrow." So tomorrow comes, like, "Hey, yeah, can somebody take me down to show me Kirk's gear? Because I'd really like to see Kirk's gear, so I get just to get acquainted with it."
Make sure it's all there.
"Oh, mate. We're all going deep sea fishing today. You all like deep sea fishing?" "I love deep sea fishing." "Yeah, take the day off. Go walk around. Check out Buenos Aires. When is the next time you're going to be in Buenos Aires?" Yeah, I was just here like a month ago.
Yeah.
I'd really like to see Kurt's gear. So I had no idea about this gear. And I was given like a set list right before they went on and go, "This could change." And it's just like,
this isn't written in stone. It could change at any minute.
So I'm sitting there.
Here's some suggestions.
And I know when Never Tear Us Apart has a sax, but he had 3 different ones. So let me reiterate. There's like an alto. I don't know all the different sax. So I didn't know.
Sounds like a lot of work already.
Yeah, I didn't know which sax was coming up. So, but I'm sitting there and I'm fucking flipping off the camera guy who's fucking whipping his cable at me, and I'm tethered to the wall on a 3-foot piece of jumper cable for to get the tuning for the guitars.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and the saxophone's sitting right over here, and I'm tethered to the wall, and I turn around and I see the camera guy, and I shit you not, we made eye contact, and he went and like hit that cable like a whip, and I watched that. It went the wave, and it hit that saxophone right in the bell. And it knocked that saxophone right out of the holder.
Yeah.
And I've got the guitar. I've only got 3 foot to play with this 3-foot jumper cable, and the guitar's 5 foot away, or the saxophone's 5 foot away.
Yeah.
And so I reach out.
Don't you got the other 2 feet right here?
Yeah. And I reach out and I grab it as the sax falls, and I grab it by the bell, by the big open part of.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Think," and his mouthpiece hits the ground.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yep.
And I'm like, "Oh fuck, this thing's gonna be out of tune."
Yeah.
And so I go. Kirk comes and goes, "I'll take that sax now, mate." I'm like, "Yeah, you probably want to check it first."
You sure?
He goes, "Nonsense, mate." He goes, "It'll be fine." I'm like, "Kurt, it fell on the ground." That's why he goes, "Mate." He goes, "Beep, beep, beep." He goes, "Oh, it's fine, mate. It's fine." And I'm like, "Kurt, I'm telling you, it fell and hit the ground. Check it, please." And he goes, just switch me on, mate. I'm like, nah, Carter, check the fucking sax. And so this is no joke. And I'm like, and I'm sitting there, I know it's fucked up because it hit, and I know,
Right.
the one thing I know is it's the mouthpiece that tells you what.
Right. Tuning.
So they're playing Never Tear Us Apart, and then it hits me, I know this song. He's not playing guitar in this song. He's only playing sax, and the sax, there's no guitar solo. It's a sax solo. And of course, behind the drum riser, they build a staircase full of road boxes that go up. And because I have never seen the show, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh my God, he's climbing up."
He's in the spotlight.
Oh, you better believe it. And they will never tear you apart. So he's looking at me, don't fucking stop. And he's going, mate,
Like,
fine.
Jack, not there.
He's like, it's fine. You know, and he was behind her. And it's just like, and they will never. And you see him walking up, and he's going, and I'm going, tear us apart. Dunk, 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 dunk. Dunk, 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 dunk. And the spotlight comes on, and he's standing at the top, and saying, it sounds like two cats fucking in a fucking propeller. And I'm like going, and you know what happened? He walks down, this is no shit, he walks down casually, walks over, and he hands me the sax. He goes, you're right, mate, it is fucked up. And he goes up and he
I think this is out of tune.
He didn't say one bad word to me about, except for he goes, I've got to send this thing off because it's broken. He goes, I got to send it off to LA to get fixed. So he sent it
You're
off.
like, yeah, that's what I thought when I was trying to tune it. Something's wrong with this.
So he fucking, they called me back like 2 weeks later at the end of the tour, and they go, we need to see you in the production office. I'm like,
Here it comes.
oh man, yeah. So I go into the production office.
Parlor window.
Yeah, right. So I go to the production office, and they're like, mate, we'd like to talk to you about this saxophone incident. I'm like, yeah. I said, if you need me to pay for it, I mean, I broke on my watch, and he goes, pay for it? That's rubbish, mate. He goes, I'll never have you pay for it. He goes, I sent it off to get fixed. It came back playing better than ever. I've been meaning to send it off to get fixed. He goes, this thing's great. He goes, we'd like to offer you a position here
As a sax tech.
And I'm like, oh man, that's great, man. I thought I was going to give cat, but the cat was totally professional.
Yeah.
And he didn't say one bad thing. He was like, shake
Well,
it
that's
up.
a good rock star.
Yeah, that's a good rock star to work for.
Go piss.
Go Pete.
All right.
Go piss.
Are you guys going to chat?
Yeah, we're gonna chat.
We're gonna chat.
Everything's just we're fluid here, man.
I'm going to leave.
Go leave a piss.
If it's locked, let me know. It should be open.
Here we are, back again.
Yes. We have so many shows on the schedule too.
I'm dirty. I stink. I'm in my work
Are you
clothes.
going out on the road, or are you still here for now?
I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm here for now.
Okay.
I'm enjoying making movies again.
Yes.
Saw my name in the credits.
You're still writing? Are you finally writing?
I am finally writing.
You're not procrastinating.
I'm procrastinating my ass off, man. I gotta fucking admit it. I've blown it, man. But January, the first book is still on for January.
Okay.
And I can get it done. I have it done. I have one version of it done, but I want to redo it because it's the Fred way. So anybody that's ever worked with me knows that I'm insane, and I've written it. I've sent it to the publisher. I've sent it to everybody. I've sent it to the and then I looked at it the other day and went, nah, I could probably do it a little bit better if I wanted to.
Okay.
So we're talking about doing it better. I have the next story that I did after that almost done.
Okay.
And so, but it's a big part of but when you're working 14, 16 hours a day, it just.
Now, are you working on movies now?
I'm going back on making movies. I just finished. Today is the last day of shooting for a Billy Porter movie called What If.
Okay.
The Chair, which I was a set dresser on, came out on Netflix the other day. And
Is that where your credits at?
Yeah, I got some credits on that.
Good.
I got my photos, my photography's in that.
Oh, and really?
Yeah, I'm gonna post on Instagram.
Good for you.
So yeah, so they used my photography in that. Then I went off and I did American Rust, and then next week, I end this movie on the 3rd officially, I'm done. And then I have, I think I start another one like 3 days later. And then I do that one for a couple days. And then I'm scheduled to go off and do another one up at, I think it's an Obama produced.
Are you going to take a touring gig?
Who knows?
Are you being offered touring gigs?
No, actually, I'm not. I was hoping Fran could.
Did you ask him? I asked him earlier what happened to Megadeth. Are you not?
Oh,
I mean, you don't have to tell me the story.
I wasn't sure whether you were going to go back.
You don't have to tell me story. I mean, is it a yes or no?
It's a no. I'm not with Megadeth.
Sure?
In fact, we're all gone. Everybody from that you saw out there is no longer.
Willie G.
Everybody's
who did
gone.
my show.
Everybody's gone. You know, I mean, there's a lot of factors.
Was it time to change?
It was time. It was time for a change. Yeah. And but yeah, I mean,
are there some similarities in character and personality from Dave Mustaine and David Lee Roth? Are there any parallels there?
It could drop on a dime. Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, and that's just the thing too.
Is he still mad because he's not in Metallica?
Mustaine's a sweetheart until he thinks about Metallica. Yeah. But I mean, but I've seen Mustaine be great. You know, and I've yeah, but it's just like everybody, you know. It is what it is. You know, I mean, if you ask people think I'm the nicest guy in the world, but then you ask people, and they go, he's a dick, you know.
Are they out now?
Yeah, they just went out. And of all things, James Lomenzo's back with him.
I saw that.
Oh, well, how come the bass player left?
You know,
is it a long story?
Yeah, read the internet.
I don't know what happened. I saw the headline. I don't have time to read that.
You know what?
I saw the headline. You know, Dave Ellison is no longer Megadeth.
He got railroaded. So I mean, you know, and I
you know, Lexi Fox is not in Steel Panther.
Yes, I know. I know.
I don't even know who that is.
You know what? I would.
What are you talking about?
I would love to play for Steel Panther.
You should. They have a submission thing. You could.
What?
Well, why did this person get fired?
It's on Facebook. They're taking video submissions for people playing.
Oh man!
You wouldn't even have to wear a wig.
I wouldn't have to wear a wig. I know those guys.
Yeah,
you know.
Me too.
So
I just saw Darren. You know, I live by them in L.A. and I just saw Darren. He was at a golf store. I was at Home Depot, and right next door to Home Depot is a golf shop, and he was coming out of the golf shop, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
Oh man!
So why'd their bass player get canned?
I don't know the story honestly. I don't know.
I know why Megadeth's bass player was canned. I'm talking about this other band,
Steel Panther.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know it either.
Let's call Darren. I don't know if he got canned or if he left. I don't know the story. I can't say.
If you ever ask Fred a question and he goes, "Well," you know the answer is so bad they can't even publish it.
I can't really repeat that.
I'm going to say something, but it is not going to be relatively close.
And that's been most of your answers actually here, by the way. What happened with Zakk Wylde? I don't want to talk about it, but
you know what's crazy? The one thing I will say is it seemed like to me you had more insane stories from a band that didn't have really an insane reputation, which was Shinedown.
Well,
they did have an insane reputation. Yeah, right.
I don't.
The singer and the guitar player, they had a really bad.
Yeah. Well, I was there for that.
Brett and Jason. That's all I remember hearing. But I didn't think they were, from a public standpoint, were.
No, man. They, you know what? Those two worked together great. You know, I mean, they for as fun as it was, you know, they wrote some great songs and they had great chemistry. And
the band's different now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's totally different. After that album, after Jay left, it's total. It's different, but I mean, it's still a good band. I mean, I would go to see them, and you know, and I love everybody.
Did they drag each other down? It got like a toxic,
kind of like a Joe Perry, Steven Tyler kind of thing going on there, and that's exactly what it was. Yeah. And then you had like the tech going, well, I shouldn't be here, but yeah. So yeah. They were, but I mean, they had great chemistry, and you know, I always say
they're still doing great, right? They're still like
a decent sized act.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're huge.
They opened for KISS for a while.
Yep.
One run.
So back to KISS for a second. So this is the farewell tour.
No, it's not.
No.
No,
This is the
did the farewell tour in 2000.
farewell tour was a long time.
Yeah,
ago.
we did
This is
the
the end
farewell
of the
tour.
road
Where were
tour.
you?
20 years ago, we
It's
did
the end of the road tour.
This is the end.
Excuse me. It's semantics.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you got to be.
I gotta be accurate.
Greg, you have to be specific.
Yes, I have to be specific. Yes.
Do you know what that's from? Anybody?
I've heard it. I just
Oh,
can't
come
pitch
on.
it. Can't.
I was going to say the Partridge Family, but it wasn't the Partridge Family. It was the other one.
Brady Bunch.
Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, you have to be specific. He's like, but you know what I meant. But that's not what you said. Well, you know what I meant.
He's quoting it.
Yeah.
You're quoting
It's a
it.
great episode. Look it up.
I only remember the one of her getting hit in the face with the football.
Marsha.
In the nose. In the nose. She still is very, very attractive. If you look at
It's
all
the
of
middle
them now-
sister.
No,
No,
Marsha's the
Marsha.
oldest one.
McCormick.
Oh, I thought that was. Which is the middle? What's
Jan.
Oh, Jan.
Who?
We all watched it because of Marsha. You know that.
Marsha.
I was thinking about it the other day. It was like when I was growing up, it was like it was Marsha, it was Daisy Duke,
Yes.
Yeah.
it was can't remember her name. I know
Ginger
her
and
real name.
Marianne.
Got to take
Oh, that's such a toss up, right?
both and Mrs. Howe.
I mean, I think here's and Mrs. Howell for dessert. I think it's such a toss up. I think initially,
shit.
as a young kid, like we're talking about, you're watching it's Ginger. She's
Ginger,
super
man.
sexy.
Yeah.
Then when you get older, you're like, I bet Marianne was a freak.
Yeah.
And she was the
It's
pretty
a pointed broad.
She was the
And
pretty.
you know
you know what I
Mrs.
mean?
Howe was the freak.
She was the pretty quiet one, right?
Yeah. And
Who
you
was
want to be
just
studying.
waiting for somebody to notice her.
And Ellie Mae.
And Ellie Mae.
You can't forget
Yeah,
Ellie
Ellie
Mae
Mae.
from Judd Clamp from the Beverly
You know,
Hillbillies.
but yeah, but you know what? The best ever though was the best.
Lonnie
ever
Anderson
was,
from WKRP. in
Yeah,
Cincinnati.
I got one better than that. If you really look at it, the best ever was "I Dream of Jeannie."
Oh yeah.
Barbara Eden was
Just looking at pictures of her today, it was popping up. I'm on his 70s fan page and a picture.
unbelievable.
How about this?
Unbelievable.
Linda Carter, Wonder Woman.
Oh,
Yeah.
smoking. Still smoking.
Cheryl Teagues. You didn't do it for you? Didn't do it for you?
I mean, if you're gonna say Cheryl Teagues or Farrah Fawcett, I'm gonna say Farrah
Suzanne
Fawcett.
Summer. Yeah, Farrah Fawcett was in a
Suzanne
class of
Summers,
her own. Yeah.
Same thing, right? Suzanne Summers, like she was the one for Three's Company, and then as you get older, you're like, Trish DeWitt. I think maybe.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Think
Well,
maybe
you
she-
become more
Or
sophisticated
you're
in
sitting
your
around going,
flavors.
yeah, Mr. Furley.
Okay, Lieutenant Uhura or Spock? Who was the bigger freak?
You're just you're trying to be politically correct for the times we're in right now.
There was really
I
the
understand
only
that.
one is Lieutenant Uhura from Star Trek. That was the only chick, right?
yeah.
That is true.
The rest of them were dudes.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what other shows brought out that kind of like.
If you want to go way back to when I was like just really realizing that I liked girls, heartthrobs.
Yeah.
You know who really is off the radar, which I'm not agree with it. $6 Million Man, but
Lindsay Wagner.
Lindsay Wagner.
What about Fall Guy? Anybody know? Throw out the name.
I don't.
Heather Thomas.
Heather
Oh,
Thomas, yeah.
I thought it was gonna say
because
Heather
it was the
Locklear.
opposite of Heather Locklear.
Fall Guy.
Heather Locklear had the tryst with the rock star, right?
Which
Or the
one?
marriage or whatever.
All of
Tommy
them.
Lee.
All of them, Tommy.
Tommy Lee, Richie Sambora. She's married to all
Oh,
of them.
those two, yeah. That was a pretty big People magazine material kind of thing going on there, right?
Yep.
I don't even really know, but Richie lives out by me. I see him once in a while at the ice cream stand.
At the ice cream stand.
Yeah.
You can't make
What is
that
it?
up.
What's it called?
You can't make that up.
What's the big one? I don't eat.
Like we would
I don't
know.
eat ice cream. Cold Stone. Cream.
Oh,
Cold
we have
Stone,
one
yeah.
of that- we have that up here.
Yeah,
You mean the $7 scoops of ice cream?
that's expensive, right?
I didn't know what a Starbucks was until I really started hanging around with you.
I didn't know Starbucks was until I went to L.A. I remember I went there for the first time. Went to the one down on...
Someone's going to pay $5 for a cup of coffee. That's a great business model.
I mean,
It's incredible.
yeah. I don't think. Well, so I moved to LA in '99, and that's when Starbucks were really popping up. I'm from New York, so Dunkin' Donuts was what we had, and I actually stopped going to Starbucks probably I mean, I'll go there if I have to go there, but I make, especially with COVID, right? You just stay
Yeah.
home and make coffee,
You won't remember this, but when I got to the stadium, when I got to this Pittsburgh Civic Arena for that last show, the Sonic Boom tour that you guys came back to play, and it was the snowstorm from hell. It was ice storm, and you met me I literally parked and was walking up in the back there, and you met me outside and goes, "Hey, let's go jump in your car and get a Starbucks." And I'm like, Do you see what's good? And we got in my car and we went to Starbucks in downtown Pittsburgh, and I'm like, well, what if I can't get him back on time? That's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So what if I can't climb up this hill in the ice? And that's going to be a problem.
Did we make it back?
We did make it back. Yeah. But I remember trying to find.
Did we go through the tubes?
It was a Sunday. It was a Sunday, and I think it was hard to find a place.
Starbucks open.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Good times.
All right. Magical Garden. Like I said, that was my first. It was on Thursdays from 72 to 84. Wow, that can't be right.
Wait, what?
The Magical Garden. Do you not know the Magical Garden?
I don't know the Magical Garden.
Oh my God.
That was a show?
Yeah.
What
Was it
kind of show?
Local show?
It was like for lack of a better term, it was who was the guy? He Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers. So he's a local New York.
Kind of like that. Yeah, he's local, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Rogers was.
Yeah, my wife graduated.
That was our guy.
My wife graduated from the Art Institute of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And he did the commencement speech.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Fred Rogers.
Fred Rogers. So Magical Garden was that kind of kid show.
Like Zoom.
You know? What's that?
Remember Zoom?
No.
Yeah, see, they had a different.
Okay, Zoom was a PBS show.
Zoom's
Electric
PBS.
Company?
Electric Company.
Okay, that was out of Pittsburgh.
Right. Scranton. I was just in Scranton. They have a big thing.
Electric Company.
Electric Company.
That Morgan Freeman actually started his career there.
Yep.
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan
Freeman should introduce KISS.
I was just going to say that. If Morgan Freeman was going to introduce a KISS show.
I don't know, but I just saw a thing the other day. It was so funny. It was God, what's that guy's name?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I know. This is CNN.
No.
James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones.
Not James Earl Jones. White guy. Different guy. Oh my God, he was introducing the Foo Fighters at something, maybe on TV or at an event, and he went to them beforehand and he goes, "How do you say it? Foo Fighters?" Foo Fighters?
Christopher Walken.
Christopher
Walken. The Foo Fighters.
That would have been great.
Foo Fighters.
That's a spoof that needs to go on YouTube. We need to get like someone like Craig Gass or someone that does imitations and do all these different celebrities introducing KISS. That needs to hit YouTube.
There you go.
You hear me, Gass?
Magic. Yeah. Want me to text him?
Yeah.
Magical Garden was Carol and Paula. They were the two girls.
This must be a New York thing.
I mean, yeah, it was WPIX started in 72, so
72
to 84.
HR Puffin stuff.
That was HR Puffin stuff. But Carol and Paul. So, like you were saying, Marianne or Ginger. So Carol or Paula. You got it. You have to look it up.
I have
Look
to
it
see
up
him.
when the podcast goes. Look it up and see
Sigmund
Carol
the
or
Sea
Paula.
Monster. I'm going way back.
Sigmund the Sea Monster.
Now, I will tell you that crazy story.
What do you want me to ask, Craig?
Say, float the idea and make sure you say it was McKenna's idea.
Tell him I
there
said
needs
hi.
to be he's good friends with Freddie. Make sure we're not good friends because I'm an A's fan and he's a Mariners fan and I can't stand a fucking Mariners. So don't mention my name. But there
I was a Seahawks fan.
He is
he
a
lost
Seahawks
Seattle
fan.
Mariners too. Same thing, same difference.
Oh, that's
Still,
baseball.
yeah, same. It's something like that.
I know nothing about sports.
But he went to a Power game yesterday
because I had a free ticket. Yeah. I have 3 kids who are in baseball and basketball,
yeah.
and they're awesome and they're really good. And I like to tell everybody they
And you
learned
have no
everything
idea
from
what's
me.
going on there.
I barely made it when I was in Little League. I was the last guy picked, right? They were like, well, I guess we'll take Fran. He's the last one there, I was like, everybody got picked, and you're the last kid standing there, and they're just like, all right, you get the stupid fat kid,
Tell Gas we need celebrity voices introducing KISS. Various celebrity voices, and that needs to be that would be phenomenal for his act.
He does a good Christopher Walken.
He does a lot of great voices. I think that would be just you know.
You mean you want him to do my job?
Yes. Yes, but never as good as you,
Yeah.
of course. But, you know, not that there'd be any threat that you'd lose your job.
All right, Pittsburgh. You wanted the best.
You got
And you got the best. Ladies and gentlemen, the hottest band in the world.
KISS.
You know, would you ever worry that one night your voice is going to break coming out of the gate in that? Like,
Never.
Crack like
never
Bobby
worried.
Brady.
Never.
Do you think that's ever happened?
It's never happened, and it will never happen.
I don't mean with you. I'm just saying. I mean, you know. So do you like warm up? You like, drink something?
Yeah,
I do warm up a little bit, and I do have a lot of vocalese that I spray in my voice and stuff like that because it's painful after it's done. You know, like I put everything into it. You know.
Yes.
You gotta have a guy that towels you off when you come off.
Yeah.
Got a little dabs your face with a towel.
No, it's you know what? It's in all honesty, it's pretty exciting because
I bet.
you know the stage is dark, and as soon as the lights go down and they open to rock and roll
Yeah.
by Led Zeppelin,
Yeah.
and that music goes on, and most people know that's the
the
intro
start of
thing,
it,
and
right?
that's playing, and the guys come up, you know, and I hand them the guitar, and the production manager's there, and the stage manager's there. We're all there, and they're all in their headsets for when it's time to go and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and then when the music stops and that rumble starts, you know, like that, and they point at me, and then you just hear like as soon as I start, you hear the crowd roar. It's just, you know, and I think I feed off of that because
Yeah.
you hear that roar, you know, and then I dig into like, all right, wherever we are, and it's kind of just a cool.
Ever any fear you're going to mess that up?
Huh?
Ever any fear that you're going to make a mistake one night?
No,
Just go out and do it.
not at all.
No, like,
You
I
know?
mean, you're in Cincinnati. All right, Columbus. I mean, you know.
Oh no. So I had there's a city sign taped to the stage
Okay.
for Paul. Just man, you know, you're in a different place every night. You kind of sometimes forget where you are. I've had to go over and look at that just to make sure. And sometimes if it's Mansfield or whatever, Mansfield or
Chester.
yeah, exactly. And you could just but I haven't messed it up.
Like I always crack about that town in Europe or England, Ipswich. All right, Ipswich.
Yeah, Iffensheim.
I've seen on tour somebody say the wrong city.
Well, Peter Criss sang Beth one time.
I saw Gene do it the other night. I think we started in. I think that was exactly. We started in Mansfield, New Hampshire, and he said Manchester. All right, Manchester. No, Mansfield.
He
I
can
remember
get
back
away
when
with
Peter
it.
was in the band. He came out to
That's
sing
it.
Beth, and he
That's
said,
it.
"Thank you, Dallas," and we were in
Houston.
Houston. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
that didn't go over very well. I got booed for that. I remember.
It happens. What are you
So,
gonna do?
so there's an interesting time in this band that I've observed, and I want to ask you about it because you were in working for the band at this time. The era of like 2002ish, 3ish,
Yeah.
all the way to, I would say, the studio time of Sonic Boom, when the decision was made that we're going to make a record, because I felt that. How do I say this?
Spit it
When
out.
Peter and Ace were done, and there was a period of time that happened, right? Because one was back in.
We're not done.
Peter came back in, Ace came back, whatever it was. But there would, Paul went and did the solo thing, and I always wondered when the solo thing was going on, was there really a clear vision for what was going to happen after his solo thing was done? Like, was there a clear vision of like, we're going to go record, we're going to keep this version of the band, and we're going to take it for the next 15 years? Like, I always wonder about that.
I don't think there's ever a clear vision of what's going on. But I think that Paul said in interviews before that they were really happy with the way the band was going, with Tommy and Eric in the band, and they felt that the band was strong.
Right.
And they wanted to represent this version of the band. So I think that's why they went in and thought that they could do another record, 2 records, whatever, you know.
Okay.
I just think they felt like, all right, this is a great band. You know, Tommy's great, Eric's great. I think we should, you know, we should represent this band with an album.
Sonic Boom versus Monster.
That's just my interpretation.
Yeah, I get it. I think your observation is spot on.
Yeah.
Sonic Boom versus Monster.
Yeah.
I have a preference as a fan. I think Sonic Boom is a far superior record. Do you share in that, or do you think the opposite?
Yeah. So I'm going to shoot back to where I told you I play in Freedom Rock, and I play the same songs I listened to growing up.
Right.
So quite honestly, with all due respect, except for being in the studio for Sonic Boom and Monster, I don't think I've really ever listened to Sonic Boom and Monster. Just
Okay.
I have that
just
same
because
thing.
just because I don't really listen to anything.
Current.
I listen to the music I listened to growing
Okay.
up. And Eric Singer's the same way. He's told me, you know, he goes I listen to Black Sabbath and
Yeah.
I listen to
I think we all generally do.
yeah. I mean, I haven't bought a record, if you can even buy records anymore, because they lost me with the whole MP3 download
Yeah.
thing. You know, I'm a fossil. You know,
Yeah,
so
I get it.
I
Good way to deflect an answer.
yeah. I don't. But I just don't know. I just don't know what the. So I don't even really honestly remember. Sonic Boom was first, right? And then
Yes.
Monster was the
Yes.
last one we did. Yeah.
Yes. Sonic Boom was 09.
Okay, and then Monster was after that. So I remember
2012.
Yeah. I mean, I remember I was there for all of it. I was there for the writing of it because they wrote very much like a band. They wrote like we went into a rehearsal room and they would come in and Paul was like, "Hey, I was working on this riff."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I think, you know, here's the verse, here's the chorus, and you know, here's the melody, and Gene would be like, "Oh, how about hear about this for the
Yeah.
chorus?" You know,
Yeah.
and they would just write, and we'd record it, and they'd take some stuff home,
Yeah.
and they wrote very much like, you know, when you're kids and you're trying to figure out writing a song, you know, and hey, I got this idea on guitar, and then here's a melody line. Somebody comes up with some more lyrics. Tommy came in with some stuff. Eric had some ideas. It wasn't like somebody. So I worked with The Offspring, and the singer would write the entire album, right? And I don't think anybody was offended by that because obviously he was writing hit songs and he
Right.
knew what he was doing. So he would write it. He would use a drum machine and he would do the drum parts. He would play guitar. He'd play bass on it. He would basically give them the finished record, and they would all learn it, and they'd go in the studio and record the record. Like everybody would play the parts,
Okay.
but he wrote everything.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
right up to the drum parts. I mean, he wrote
Okay.
everything. So, you know, that's one way of doing it, and obviously worked. And I don't know how KISS wrote in the past. I don't know what their history is.
Is that how they
in
also
forms.
wrote Monster as well? Do you remember anything different in there? The
No,
same
we did
thing?
the same exact thing. We went into a studio. We went to a rehearsal studio. We set up there, like, you know. Actually, I think, you know what, for Monster, we did it a little different because I think they wrote Sonic Boom. They wrote the songs in the studio, and when they had all the songs, we went in and recorded them. With Monster, if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, they would go in and write like 3 songs,
Okay.
and then we would go into the studio and record those 3 songs.
Got it.
So we'd load out of the rehearsal, we'd load into the recording studio, they would record those songs, we would load the gear back out into the rehearsal studio, and they would do 3 or 4 more songs.
Got it.
And they would load out, we'd go into the studio, record those songs, and back into the rehearsal studio. That's how we kind of did that one, if I remember correctly.
Over the past couple of years, the Facebook or Instagram posts primarily from Paul and Gene, probably done through you. And
I
other
don't
people.
follow those guys. So
Yeah, okay. In regards to when they go in to rehearse for either a one-off or for a tour,
Yeah.
it looks like you are at a location with really high curtains in the background. Is that a facility they own, or is that a? No, I'm asking because people ask these questions. Is that like Are you rehearsing it at a particular studio or
No, first available.
That's right.
Whatever's open.
A lot
it's
of
LA.
places are like that,
It's
yeah.
LA,
but
right?
it's always
So
the same gray back. It looks like it's always the same gray curtain background. So I thought it was the same venue. That's why I thought.
I mean, a lot of places look similar because
Okay.
those are deadening curtains for studios, as we all know.
Got it.
No, it's really whatever's available.
Okay.
Even for just regular rehearsals, I mean, it could be SIR, it could be mates, it could be
Okay.
Third encore.
Yeah, third encore, center staging.
Yeah. There's all
You know,
kinds of them out there.
Yeah, that's loud, right? There's somebody out there.
Yeah,
now.
that's okay.
Party.
That's okay.
It's LA, so there's always somebody doing something. So the availability is not always there when you want to go to this spot that you like or prefer or whatever. So it's first available.
Okay.
We have several different options, so
They all look the same on the
they
inside.
all look the
Yeah,
same.
they all,
For the most part,
At the beginning of the tour,
You really have to be like me or Fred, be like, oh, I know where that is. Because I know there's a sink right off to the side of that. I said, they still haven't fixed that stage.
The stage itself, the construction of the stage, is that all set up ahead of time before a tour? Is there a walkthrough of the actual? Like, I guess what I'm saying is there an actual dry run of the entire show with all the new stage?
Oh, yeah.
Is it full with costumes and the whole thing? Is it almost like a?
Well,
to the weenie roast out there. I think
it's a process. If it's a new touring stage, that's all pre-built,
Right.
and they come and see it.
Okay.
and they watch the run through for the gags and how everything's gonna move, and like when we did the spider and all that, and then maybe as they tweak it, they'll send some videos to the band and stuff like that. And then we don't really, like when we start a tour, then we'll do like a full dress rehearsal run through, you know. And by dress rehearsal, I mean they just will come out in the boots, you know, because that takes getting used to it. Even at rehearsals before we came out on this, they rehearsed for a week, and then the second week we rehearsed for 2 weeks, but the first week we rehearsed in Vegas, and the second week we rehearsed in LA, and they wore the boots.
Yeah,
just because, you know, I mean, it's something you have to get used to, you know.
It's fascinating to me to had that little peek of being side stage or hanging out with you before a show, and just seeing the unvarnished version of all this that goes on to putting that stage together, the mechanics of it, the nuts and bolts of it, and just how beat up things get from being tossed in and out of.
Absolutely,
it isn't like this really pristine.
I think all of us,
Immaculate.
even everybody who works there, even the people who are doing it,
we
all look at it and go, how the fuck did this all come together? You know, it's so much. It's organized chaos, right? It's just it's just so massive that, you know, it's you wonder how it all actually can come together, you know.
Is it an engineering
and that's like
company
to the
that does
credit
all
of
that?
the, like, I mean, I wouldn't want this job, but the production managers and the designers and the people who really facilitate all of that, you know, at some point you're just like, God, it's just overwhelming at some point, you know.
One of the shows,
and then you're putting it up and taking it down every day, you know, and put it in different places that aren't the same.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and every stage is a little different.
Every stage
there's modifications have to be made.
Our stage is the same, but the rooms are different.
Right.
So the rigging points are different,
PAs and things.
Where you have to hang everything. Those guys that sort out all of that logistics are, you know, I mean, it's just beyond me. I'm not interested in that, and I wouldn't be involved in that because that's a whole. You know,
you almost
team
got
of
hoodwinked in doing that.
I mean, you got to figure every spot, like I said, where they hang the points for the lighting rig and the PA and stuff like that is all different everywhere you go.
Yeah.
So there's our riggers and our crew of people and our production team that figure all that out. I mean, that's just like.
No, I get it. It's a hell of an undertaking.
Yeah.
One of the shows I came down to see you was either, I think, in Florida in the early 2010s, 11, something like that.
I remember that.
Actually, it was.
It was a casino, right?
It was.
Was it a Hard Rock?
It was a Hard Rock at the Seminole.
Maybe. Yeah.
And I think it was on St. Patrick's Day 2011. And there was green beer involved. But anyways.
Great day.
Anyways, yes.
My son's
indeed.
St. Patrick.
Right on. Well, at that show, It might, or maybe it was the Illinois show that same year. I drove out to that show, or I flew to that show, and I remember what was weird was we were standing side stage, and well before the show, maybe mid-afternoon, there was a golf company that was going to do a promo with Tommy in full makeup where he was going to swing a golf club.
That's right. I remember that.
And there was flames and fire. So they were setting these flash pots off, and I'm standing next to you, just like observing this
But I
thing.
think they had it set up so that the golf ball exploded, right?
Yeah, something like that. But they had to do it multiple takes. And I remember standing next to you, and you said to me, it might get a little warm over here. You might not. And I didn't think, I'm thinking, yeah, whatever. So I guess seeing that and looking at that flash can and seeing like the rigging, it gave me a different view of like a KISS stage that you don't see from the audience.
Yeah.
It looks pristine and like it was just built today.
Yeah.
But you see the side version of it and you feel it's just raw. That was just raw. Like that is.
Hey, that's so funny you mentioned that. Like sometimes I'll have people at the show, and people that are in a front row or side of the stage, and they're like, I'll talk to them afterwards, and they're like, "Man, I could feel the flames from where I was sitting." I go, "How do you think I feel?" So there's a perfect example. Just the other night, I don't know. We've only done 3 or 4 shows so far, but Paul came over and we were switching guitars. We're changing guitars, and we were upstage and near the pyro, and like he came over like before that. We usually change it because he changed it at the end of the song, but he started walking over while they were ending the song, and we switched guitars, and the flames went off behind us, and we both went, like, we looked at each other and we both went, "Holy shit!" Because you feel your skin,
you feel it singe, man.
Yeah, you feel your skin like. I mean, we were standing right next to it, so if people in the audience can feel how hot it is, you imagine how it is if you're standing on the stage.
No, I
got in trouble because I'm surrounded by all those flames. That's TSO, man.
Right.
And so you got the flames. I got in trouble in Manchester for roasting marshmallows.
Not Mansfield.
It was up there. It was either it was Manchester. But I put a fork on a guitar stand, and I stood back behind the stage, and I was roasting marshmallows, man, and it caught on fire. Yeah, the fire marshal they don't like that too much. Yeah, they frown upon that.
Yeah, they're pretty strict about that whole burning down the venue thing.
Yeah,
there was a bad episode up in New England about that, right?
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Oh my God, it was terrible. Yeah.
I can't keep you much longer, but I had to get you back down.
We have a show tomorrow. Well, it's only 10 o'clock.
You have a show tomorrow?
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Guys
you're based out of here?
I know.
Yeah, it got funky, huh?
Sweet. So you don't play till Thursday, huh?
Here.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So today's Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Played Toledo, and we come back to Pittsburgh, Burgettstown, and then somewhere after that. I think North Carolina.
You just take it day by day, right?
That's it, man.
I mean,
there's no back-to-back, or very few back-to-back shows, right?
They're all back to
all
back.
Yeah, you just got
shows.
3 in a row. You got
3 in a row.
Or you 2? Or you're
that's what I mean. Like
They're 2 in a row now.
Okay. Okay.
Mostly, it's like 2 shows day off, 2 shows day off.
Okay.
2 shows day off.
Okay.
It used to be. I mean, we used to tour like we would do 3 in a row, day off, 2 in a row, day off, 3 in a row, and sometimes logistically it's just impossible because we're not just putting amps on the stage, right? You just like say if you show up at a gig and throw some amps on the stage and you
just as in Springsteen.
Yeah. I mean, we're building a stage, we're building a lighting rig, and if you've ever seen like sometimes there's videos of the building they build the KISS stage out in the middle of the arena while they're building the lighting rig.
Wow. Okay.
So they build the lighting rig where the stage would be, and they build a stage out in the middle of the arena where the front of house would be.
Roll it in.
Yeah. And so ideally, in a perfect world, the lights go up, the stage rolls in, the sound PA goes up, and we come in.
Yeah.
Ideally.
What's it like when Stanley gets, or Mr. Stanley, I should say, gets caught and the harness like stops midair as he's sailing out there? It's happened a couple times, right?
That's always a great time. I mean,
it's happened a couple times, I think, in the last 10, 15 years.
It's happened a couple times.
He stalled. I think we were over in Europe. I mean, I remember me and Elfson watching. He like stalled at one of those European, like didn't quite make it. It was like 3 feet away or some shit, and they had to pull him in.
I mean,
Fran pulls him in.
He said it best one time when it didn't happen, when it got stuck, and he came back out, and walked up to the mic, and he said, "Sometimes you want to go see your friends, and your car won't start." So
He's pretty good natured. The ones, at least the videos of it, him doing it. He's pretty
what are you going to do at that
Well,
point,
I've
right?
seen
Are you just
Gene
going to come to...
Gene gets stuck a few times. He wasn't good natured about it. He was a little upset.
It's obviously frustrating. You want everything to work.
Well, it's dangerous too. At least Gene thought his was dangerous. He was going straight up and got stopped.
Yeah. His is a little more hairy,
Yeah.
because his has sometimes, like, I don't know what happened, but like going up is like go up and drop and go up and drop. And
It's a drum. It's a drum catching.
Yeah.
That just sounds horrifying.
Oh yeah, it's scary as shit.
Yeah. I can't imagine. Like, I've done it before. I actually sent my dad up on that one time. I think we were in.
Get out of
I forget where we were. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I put him in the harness and sent him up.
You know, in Gene's harness?
Yeah.
Or,
And Paul's, both of them.
okay.
Yeah. He loved it. He wanted to do it. I was like, I don't know, Dad. You know, it's just kind of. And he was like, well, he's old and he does it. I can do it. And I was like, well, good point.
Here we go.
Here you go.
Here you go.
Buckle up.
Buckle up.
I remember photographing a Pittsburgh show in the early 2010s, and I asked Fran, I said, do I have to leave after the first couple of songs? He says, what's your pass say? I says, it says nothing. Fran goes, well, if it did say all show, then you wouldn't have to leave. And I said, my pass doesn't say anything. And you said, I got to go now. But if it did say all show, you wouldn't have to leave.
Yeah.
For miraculously, I stayed there the entire show. But my point was, I looked up to see how high that perch was that Simmons sang God of Thunder on, and it was it looked like it was a long way up there, man.
Sometimes, and depending on the venue and depending on the rigging and stuff like that, sometimes it's pretty far up there.
Yeah.
Same thing with Paul. Like, sometimes it's, it's not that far, and sometimes it's like, I'm not sure my wireless is going to work.
You get those festival stages. Yeah.
It's like, how can that shit
fun.
not fail, though? I mean, how can that shit fail, period? I mean, there's got to be dry runs. The mechanics don't seem that hard and difficult.
It's live,
Like,
baby.
It's live. It's live.
Is that what it is?
So I forget what show it was. I think it was our second show. We did Mansfield and we did the next one. But so Paul flies out to front. It's raining. Pouring rain, right? And sometimes when it's raining, if it's raining really bad, he won't go. But if it was raining hard enough that I didn't think he was going to do it, but he did. And he flies out there, and I guess there was a guy, because there's a guy that holds we call it the lollipop, that he steps into and flies out, and then there's a guy at the other end who catches him.
Yeah.
So it came in too fast, I think. He hit that guy. He fell off the thing. He banged into the mic stand. He knocked the mic stand over, and then he knew that he knocked the guitar out of tune because he strummed it.
That's what he did the show.
And I'm listening to it, and I hear him go, and then he just goes like this. He just takes it off and puts it on the ground.
Wow. He knew.
Yeah, he knew it was out of tune.
Yeah.
So what do? I have to
Run out.
I have to grab a guitar and run through the crowd with everybody trying to grab picks off the guitar, grab me. Usually, when we do,
Are they respectful? You think they'd be respectful?
sometimes no. Sometimes when it's a planned, because we've done it before, where I was like, okay, we know after this song I'm going to go out there and change guitars, and so I have a security team. That push through the crowd and clear the crowd, and I go out there and change guitars. But this was like he put the guitar down, and the production manager standing next to me. He goes, "Go bring him a guitar." So I grab a guitar to the thing, and I fucking run through the crowd.
God, that's nuts.
And I'm running.
Well, you
through
do
the
have a
crowd.
weapon. You do have a good sized weapon.
Yeah, but it's got to be in tune when it gets there.
Yeah. That's what happened in Europe. He got out, the guitar was out, he hit, or he stopped, they hooked him in, he hit something,
Yeah.
and you ran him out of guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elson's like, oh, dude, that's can't be good.
Well, I mean, like, you almost.
I mean, what do you do at
couldn't
that
you,
point?
Couldn't you just stage one out there every show just in case?
You can't.
You can't because the weather changes. You got people throwing shit.
It's not going to be in tune.
It's not going to be in tune.
I get it. I mean,
yes, I could stage a guitar out there, and he even suggested that one time. And he's like, "Well, why don't you just leave a guitar out there?" I was like, "Well, that's towards the end of the set, right?
Well, you
That
get it back all the time too.
Yeah, and then so you get out there, you don't know what you're gonna. I mean, because we have guys out there when he flies out there, I guess
somebody could
hypothetically, if we put like a tuner on it and somebody could
do it,
tune
yeah,
up before he comes out there. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, so
We're just gonna roll with this right now. We're gonna go with.
So a couple years before you joined them during the reunion tour of 96, 97, they went to Europe and then they
I
came
was there. I went to see that at Madison Square Garden.
Right on. I saw the two Pittsburgh shows, but I also, when they came back from Europe, they did the Lost Cities tour, which was like smaller venues.
Oh yeah.
The first Lost City tour was in Charleston, West Virginia. The first show of that tour, and that's when he first did the fly out. I think he might have done it in Europe. Maybe they tested it over there, but that's when it first started. Because it wasn't for the first run of the reunion tour in the States. There wasn't a flyover, but on that Lost City tour, he started flying out, and I just happened to be sitting right where that podium was in Charleston, West Virginia. I'm like, this is fucking crazy. There's no way he's gonna fly out here. And I was like, wow. And then I never thought that would be the stick that would last all these years later, become part of the show. But
some of the tattoos are crazy, man.
yeah, no doubt.
On both ends of the spectrum, some are like so amazing, like just like the detail, and some are just like looks like somebody drew with a crayon, you know.
Jailhouse prison KISS tattoo.
Star Child is texting me right now.
Oh yeah, she's telling that Uncle Freddie and Eric said hello. Oh, should have brought him. We could have put him on the podcast.
He's in New York.
I know. I think if this show,
I mean, as much as I love Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and I don't.
You know, I gotta say, I
Yes.
mean, I told you my wife went to school here. I spent a lot of time here.
Mm-hmm.
I was walking around downtown last night, and it was sketchy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's been a little sketchy since the pandemic, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I knew you were in town last night, man. I had no idea.
I didn't know until he said he's at the Pirate game. I'm like, what are you doing at the Pirate game?
Yeah, I texted him from the Pirate game. Well, you know,
I
it's
almost
like
went down there.
we got in late afternoon, and you know how you do. You come in, you lay on the bed, you fall asleep a little bit.
Yeah.
I ran out with Keith. He had to pick up some supplies. We stopped and got something to eat, and then I came back to the lobby, and that's when Roman was like, "Hey, I got a ticket to the." They were walking over there.
Steve's with you?
Huh?
Steve's with you?
Yeah, Roman.
Oh, tell him I said hi.
Yeah. So they were like, "Yeah, we're going to Pirate Game." I was like, "Yeah, let's go to Pirate Game." And look, you know, went in town. So
You and 28 other
so
people.
I get over there, and I get over there, and I was like, "Hey, maybe." I'm thinking maybe Eric's here, you know. And
Yeah.
this kid plays baseball, and maybe they're, you know.
Yeah.
And I
Thursday.
said, "Hey, you're not at the game, are you?" And he's like, "Why do you ask?" And I was like, "I'm at the game."
That kind of freaked me out a little bit. Like, what are you doing in town?
Yeah.
I knew you were coming in early,
And nothing was open. Like I was like,
It's Pittsburgh.
restaurants and bars, and looking, it's like closed today, closed today, closed today, closed
Yeah,
today.
6 o'clock, ale closed down.
Yeah.
And that's a pandemic-related thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part.
For the most
Is
part.
downtown Pittsburgh's kind of like...
Were you in Sunday?
Huh?
Was it
no,
on Sunday?
yesterday.
Yesterday. We got in yesterday.
Monday.
Yeah, Monday.
it's Mondays.
Yeah.
Mondays are
Monday, Tuesday, everything's closed.
This was fun, buddy.
Yeah.
We should have done this a long time ago.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Let's definitely do it again.
We could talk for hours.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's...
Next time we come in, we should put up like a screen
I'm
so
not
you can't
sure
see
we
our
should.
face.
I don't.
and then we can
I'm
talk.
not sure we should. I'm not sure we
Don't
should.
tell them who the guests are.
We should record it all.
Yeah.
But we'll do it again. And I just want to say this too, without sounding too sappy. Like, no, really, you
too.
Yeah, right. On. Shh, get his secrets away. But thank you for all you've done for me in my career, for Boogie Street, for helping Fred and I sell a lot of guitars, design a lot of guitars.
Yeah.
We have our own little part of history on the guitar front.
I think so.
The three of us.
I think
really
it
we
was,
do, with Paul's help, of course.
It was exciting, you know.
It was exciting.
When I met you, and you were, I think I've told you before, I was like, you know, it was very cool that you were so enthusiastic about doing something else. you know, instead of just making
Same
a black
models.
guitar with chrome hardware. He's,
Yeah.
like,
Same
he's like,
models.
well, I'm going to do a green guitar with gold hardware, you know, and you know, just options, you know,
Yeah.
offering some options. Because I was always that guy or that kid. I was like, man, I would love that guitar if it was blue and had
Yep.
gold hardware or something, you know, like that. But you could never get that, you know. You'd have to get the guitar, have it painted blue, and buy the gold hardware. You know, it's just like. But you started offering things that weren't available, like.
And Paul really played ball with that, and I didn't think he wouldn't at the beginning, but he really did. I mean, he was like
that was the one thing that I was really excited when we started working together. That you had a vision of doing something outside of the box, you know, making something more, something more options available, more cool things.
And that first
you know?
meeting with him was fun because that's what we had.
everything started from that day.
Yeah.
So
The other thing too was that we wanted to convince him that, look, you know, I don't know what the other manufacturers are doing with these import guitars, but they're basically garbage. We found a Korean facility, and we're going to create that price point between standard imports and USA. We're going to find that sweet spot, and we can do that for you. And I remember Stanley raised his eyeball, but Paul was like, "Huh." I said, "Yeah, I just wanted you to know we're really into finding the sweet spot profit wise."
Yeah.
You know, and I think that resonated with him. Like, we weren't just looking at it as like, how many units can we get out the door at the lowest cost possible?
Yeah.
It really was about creating something custom and unique. And he played
yeah,
ball. He played ball. He was okay with it. He liked it.
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
the
Why not? I
quality.
mean, if you can, like I said, if you can offer an option, you know, to people who maybe don't want the black standard,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, there's a market there for that. There was for me.
Yes.
I always wanted
Yes.
something that everybody didn't have, you know.
Yep.
So, and that's why I started making all those guitars that he has now, like, you know. So here's how the colored mirror guitar started. He just used to have the chrome mirrored guitar, and one night when he flew out the front of the house to do Love Gun, like the black lights hit that guitar and it looked purple, right from
on.
where I was standing.
Right on.
And I was like, you know, it would be cool to have a purple mirrored guitar.
Right.
Nice.
You know?
Right.
So I literally went, there's a place in LA, Gavarelli Plastics in LA, and they sell all of that plexiglass, mirrored plexiglass, stuff like that. And I bought a sheet of purple mirrored guitar and I brought it to Ibanez.
Cool.
And I said, I want a purple cracked mirror guitar.
Use that.
Yeah. And I brought them the original cracked mirror, his original 70s cracked mirror guitar.
Yeah.
And they digitized it and scanned it and everything. So all the cracks are exactly
Nice.
It
like
needs
on
to be.
the-
That's for
Yeah.
authenticity, no question.
So I brought that to them. They digitized it. They scanned it. They did all the thing. They took the purple cracked mirror and they made me a purple cracked mirror guitar. And I remember I brought it into him the first time because he didn't know. I didn't tell him I was having it made.
Right.
And because I don't know, maybe he'd be like, what the fuck is that? That's stupid. You don't just do that. You idiot, you're fired.
He didn't like our purple V's, by the way. I'm just saying they didn't go. I thought they were beautiful.
Yeah.
But they made,
I mean, you got to try stuff, right? And you got to
Absolutely.
offer options. So I bought, and he was like, "That's cool. What's that?" And I said, "I had it made." I was like, "You dig it?" He's like, "Yeah, that's awesome."
Yeah.
So then he started playing it, and then I guess Ibanez was getting inquiries about it. So
course.
then they contacted us. They said, "Hey, people want this. Can we make it?"
Yeah.
So they did a limited run, and then we did a gold one.
Yeah.
And then I want to do for the last run, I think, and I asked them about this already. I want to do like the KISS colors. I'll do a red one, a blue one, a green one, and a purple one. You know, just one of each.
the colors behind the portraits, behind the paintings.
And I think that'd be cool. You know, just I don't know.
I think it's a great idea.
Kind of cool
And,
thing.
and the only regret that I have of that entire 8-year run, is that the Preacher was such an unbelievably fucking amazing guitar.
I still
on so
online.
many
I still
fronts.
people brag about the Preacher. I mean, look at this right there in the picture.
I
It's
know
great.
it had so much potential, and it just never.
And that was Gil, right? Gil built those.
Gil Vasquez, yeah, he
who's
built
at
I
ESP
think
now. He's
he hand built the first one, I think,
Yeah.
and Terry Atkins refined a little bit as we went forward with it, and then we put our 2 cents into it as well. I think there was a really interesting opportunity there to just.
I know you
It just
talked to
never
me many
happened.
times about how frustrated you were that we couldn't fly with that, and he was just so adamant about, well, I don't want this to be a KISS guitar. I want this to be.
I understood it.
I want this to be my thing.
I understood it, but there wasn't a thing we could have marketed from because he was doing so much full-on KISS stuff. And it's just the way his career worked. I get it. It was just, I think, look back at that now, that was just an amazing. But it was a great guitar for us to start the relationship from, because it proved to him that 8500, the quality was so good. You used it on the Australian tour.
That's right.
Which is insane.
Yeah. There's a picture of it.
Yeah, right there. Yes, in which Fran gave me that and wrote on the back, pull that down. Can you grab that? Pull that down. Remember, you sent that to me, and you go, turn it over. And I turned it over, and there it is.
We're showing this in the
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I put this together for you. These are the picks that we used.
Live to Win.
Laminate.
Yep. Tour, ticket,
and had Paul sign it to you, and then I signed the back.
Yep. Look at that tape; it's still stuck off.
From one fan to another. Thanks for everything.
Yep.
Oh, you got my pick on the back.
It's still there. Yeah.
I never got a Fran pick.
I got one for you. You gotta come in my room.
Oh shit!
What are you doing later?
On that note, we're gonna end. But I appreciate it, buddy.
I'm coming to your room to get a pick. Is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's been a hell of a run, bro.
Yeah, it's been good.
Let's have some fun.
Freddie, always great to see you.
Always great to see you.
I miss you, man.
I miss you too.
We'll see you guys. I'm going to find a way to get to NAMM and clown around with you goofballs. I'll figure a way to get out there.
Yeah, well, definitely. You have a ticket, or you have we can get you in, obviously.
All right.
It's just you got to pay for your hotel room.
I ain't sleeping with you two guys. That's for damn sure.
I'm not sleeping down there.
All right, friends.
I still got my van, so
park it right in front of the Hilton. We're good.
I mean, there's a
Wait, hold on. Before we leave, didn't Gene donate a piece of chewed gum that you were going to auction on eBay to try to get a new van after yours was smashed?
Okay, do I have to tell this story?
Yeah,
It's gonna take a minute. We're not going anywhere.
We got a minute. Go ahead. We got a minute. Is that right?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. But I'll tell you the detailed, honest story. 'Cause I was there. We were rehearsing to go out on tour, and I got rear-ended and this is my dream car. I have a Chevy Astrovan. Okay, I love it.
I had one of those.
I love it.
A 2000 I had.
Mine's 2005.
I
still have one.
That's the last year they made them.
Last year they made them. Thank you for recognizing.
I love those things.
I love it. So this was a 2005 as well.
All-wheel drive?
Sorry?
You don't have the all-wheel drive version, right?
No.
You don't need it out there.
I don't need it.
Yeah, we had the all-wheel
I'd like
drive.
to have it.
We had
just
it
because I want
gas mileage sucked. Good.
Bad gas mileage, yeah.
Yeah.
I've had 3 of them, actually. So I get hit on the freeway on the 101. I get rear-ended. And the guy totals my van. I mean, he hit me so hard. I don't think he ever hit the brakes. If you know LA traffic, which you do,
yeah.
You're going 80 miles an hour and you stop. That's just what happens for whatever reason. I don't know if somebody sees a shoe in the road, or on the other side of the freeway a cop has somebody pulled over.
Right.
So you're 80 miles an hour, stop. So I see all the people in front of me hitting their brake lights, and it happens very quickly, right? You just going and it's stop.
Yeah.
So I see, and I step on my brakes, and I look in the rearview mirror, because I've been hit before, so I'm very subconscious about this. I look in my rearview mirror as soon as I step on the brakes, and I see the guy behind me just flying up behind me. So I'm already in the far right-hand lane, and I cut my wheel because I'm thinking,
yes.
I'm thinking this guy's going to hit me. I'm going to hit the guy in front of me.
Right.
So I didn't want to hit the guy. So I cut my wheel. And before I could even get to the shoulder, the guy hits me in the driver's side rear.
Right.
And because I was turning right, he drives me into the guardrail. Right. And he hit me so hard that he plowed me into the guardrail and twisted the van, and I couldn't open the doors.
Wow.
I couldn't get out of the van.
Wow.
And everybody stopped, everybody around us, because they saw it had happened, everybody stops. And I roll down the window, and I get out of the van. Damn. And the guy's like, "Why'd you stop?" I was like, "Why'd you stop?" Yeah, they tried to, it was a big lawsuit, right? And they tried to blame me for I stopped too short.
I thought if anybody hits you from behind,
that's how I grew up.
You always are at fault.
100%.
You're at fault.
100%. If you're rear-ended, it's your fault. You weren't paying attention or whatever. That's how I grew up.
Same here.
And these guys tried to twist it as he said you stopped right in front of him. I was like,
because everybody else was
they stopped in front of me. So, I mean, I'm lucky that I turned. I would hit the guy in front of me. He probably would hit the guy in front of him. It would have been a day, because I've seen that in LA all the time.
That's crazy.
What am I talking about? My van. My van. I love my van.
Gum.
Oh, the gum. Thank you very much. So that happened right while we were starting KISS rehearsals. So, as a joke, kind of a joke, I thought maybe they'd help me out. I put like a little tip jar out on we have a little craft service table, right, where we have food and chips and drinks. So I put a little tip jar out that said Fran's car fund, you know. So Gene comes in one day and he's like, "What's that all about?" And I said, "Well, I just got hit on the freeway. My car got totaled and this and that." He's like, "Don't you have insurance?" like, "Yeah, I got insurance. I just kind of hoping maybe you'd buy me a car." I don't know.
He's honest, right?
that leads into, I just got $387,000 for my gum or something like this. Apparently, he was at an event somewhere and he was chewing gum. He was going up to speak and he was going to spit out his gum and he spit it onto the production assistant's pad or whatever. This is the story. I don't know if it's true. He spit it onto the pad. They put it on eBay. It sold for, whatever. I don't even know the number. $250,000. So he tells me the story, and he goes, "Look," and he pulls it up, and it's on eBay, and it, at least it says on eBay that it sold for that much money, and this and that. And I go, "Holy shit! Are you kidding me?" So I reach over to where we have our craft service table, and I pull out a piece of gum, and I take the wrapper, and I stick it in his mouth, and I go, "Chew that." So he chews it up, and I take a piece of printer paper, and I fold it in half, and I go, "Spit it out on the paper." So he spits it out, and then I go, "Now you have to sign it." I said, "Just sign." So he writes on the piece of paper, "I had this piece of gum in my asshole," and then he signs it, "Gene Simmons," right? And I take the wrapper that I took the gum out of, and I take some
authenticity.
Yeah, I take some a glue stick and I glue that down to the thing. I go to Michael's Crafts and I buy a frame. I buy like a shadow box frame, and I frame this piece of gum signed by Gene Simmons, chewed piece of gum, Gene Simmons, and I put it on eBay, and I got $300 for it. But here's the best part. This guy wins it. He bids $320, whatever it is. He wins it. And when the auction's over, the guy contacts me, sends me a message. He goes, "Hey, I'm really sorry. I just lost my job. I can't buy the Gene gum. I'm really sorry. Please don't give me bad feedback. Can we just cancel this transaction?"
You gotta be shitting me.
So the short story is, I still have the gum. I'll send you a picture. I still have the framed piece of gum hanging in my workshop where I work on guitars of the Gene Simmons gum. So if anybody wants to give me $250,000 for a piece of Gene Simmons chewed gum, I have a great story and an actual piece of Gene Simmons chewed gum that apparently he had in his asshole. That part didn't happen because I watched him chew the gum and spit it onto the paper, so it definitely wasn't in his asshole. But he did chew the gum, he did spit it on the paper, he did sign it, I did frame it, I did sell it for $300, and the guy backed out.
You can't make a story.
You can't
up
make
like
that.
Right?
No, it's just
that is a road story, brother.
Yeah.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Are we signing off?
We're signing off.
All right.
I gotta get you back down. You have a bus to catch.
Yeah, I got a bus to catch.
Literally
to Toledo.
Yeah, to Toledo.
Holy Toledo!
That's really happening, guys.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, Fran.
All right, we're out.
Hello, you're listening to the Eric McKenna Project.